Welcome everybody to another episode of Friday Nights on the Bayou. Thank God we are here today. It's a crazy past few days, and especially with the U High news. The LSA and U High were able to temporarily settle so U High will get their wins back temporarily, and then that court date on the November 18th, because remember U High lost the appeal, so they brought it to court.
Yeah.
So if the court favors the LHSAA, then U High will actually will have to forfeit their second round game because they have a first round bye right now. I think they're the number 2 seed in Division 2 select. So right now they still have their wins up until after November 18th.
November 18th will be there. Yep.
But thank God. That was settled because now we have the brackets will be revealed sometime, I guess, in the next hour. Right now I know they just at 12 they started their dispute period, so they're still trying to sort through their CDs and everything. It's a great day. Everything's been settled. Jace, what are your overall thoughts about the U High situation? But then also, we finally have closure that we will be starting the playoffs sometime.
Yeah, I mean, with all this craziness, and talk about the playoff brackets being delayed and when they're going to be released, we finally have a conclusion. Well, it's not going to be so late after all. It's going to be on Sunday, as it usually is. So it's great that was settled, and this dispute was settled for a bit. And I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, what I say the right thing to approach it is, for now, give U High their wins back, and let the court and everything settle for itself. And because U High is not going to be playing a playoff game anyway this week. They are on a bye. They would have a bye in the playoffs, most likely. So there's a good chance that if they lose the case, well, no harm, no foul. They would be eliminated from the playoffs, and they wouldn't have to play a playoff game anyway. So, but at least you put them in that bracket, and you give them a chance of actually playing if they win the case. I think this was the right. There has to be a balance between the two, right? Where both sides can agree on something, and that was the agreement. I thought it would be one of those situations they'll let U High play it out, and then at the end of the season, could be potentially be that's when you really, for the LHSAA, can lay down the hammer on the situation. But they decided to go this way. But either way, they found, I guess, agreement, and we have playoff football, and it desperately needed to be made because you don't want to punish all the 309 schools that are being involved as well. You don't want to throw them off too and punish them in the process. So for the time being, this is what the LHSAA needed to do, and we finally have agreement, and it looks like that the playoffs are back on in time.
By the way, right now we have 155 views, 157 now, so it's actually the highest we've had. So I'm glad we're actually doing this reveal show because now the LSA Network didn't do theirs this year. They will be doing a dome like preview type of thing, but they're not doing this year. So it was a great opportunity for me. I know Under the Lights is also doing a reveal show as well. So it's a great opportunity for people like us to kind of talk, have our own reveal show and make a name for ourselves. So 167 views, most of it's on Twitter, but we've got a good bit on YouTube as well. So please, I'm just saying this right now. If you're on Twitter, make sure to follow Ruger Sports Media. I know it's being broadcast from my personal one, but also make sure to follow Ruger Sports Media. That's my main media thing, and that's where actually I promoted the show and everything. I decided to do. I usually shoot from my Twitter page because I have a bigger following there because I got close to 3,000 followers on there. Ruger Sports Media has about close to 800, so the more followers, the better. And but then also make sure to like this video and subscribe to Ruger Sports Media on YouTube to also help that channel grow. I'm having some decent growth on there. I think I have about 130 followers. My goal is to at least have like 300, 400 by the end of the year, if possible. Obviously, I don't have big money people behind me But it's just a way to kind of promote my stuff as I go through, not only go through my career, but also get to talk about stuff that I love, including high school football. And I'm glad that Jace is on here weekly, whenever you possibly can. And right now, this is the busiest time of the year for him because not only you have the playoffs, but he also covers LSU, and then also they have a big time bowl game coming up. But before I let you talk about the bowl game and everything,
sure.
This is a tad since we have a huge viewership.
Yeah.
But this show is actually brought to you. This episode is brought to you by Mid City Pizza. It's a great pizza joint down here in the city of New Orleans. I just want to share this website. They have a lot of great pizzas. I actually, this is a family friend owns this. But I wanted to promote this, but it's really good pizza. They got pepperoni, cheese. They got really good margarita pizza, supreme pizza. They got barbecue chicken pizza. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on here. It's a really good place. If you're ever down in New Orleans, make sure to stop by. They have 2 locations. One of them is on 6307 South Mirror Street. If you want to do express takeout, but if you want to sit down and eat and have a couple of drinks, the other location on 4400 Bank Street, and that's more of a casual dining / bar type of place. Great food, local neighborhood pizzeria with big thin crust, Sicilian pizzas, great salads, sandwiches, appetizers, you name it. So make sure to go check them out if you're in the New Orleans area. Once again, Mid City Pizza, New Orleans area. They have 2 locations. 6307 South Mirror Street and 4400 Bank Street. And also there's their contact information at the bottom of their website whenever you get to check the website. But great pizza, Jace. I want to share that because they're more than willing to help. I want to get their name out there as well, and they're helping me out too. So, Jace, I'm going to go get some coffee. It's going to be a little while before they start the practice. I'd probably be in the next I think it'll be around 2:00 because I know they just went through the dispute period. So while you get the chance, we've got eyes on the show. Why don't you go ahead and promote what's going on with Gridiron football and then also the bowl game that's coming up? I know we got some high school players are watching this show right now, so it's a great opportunity for you to promote what you guys are doing at Gridiron football.
Absolutely, I appreciate that, Grant. Yeah, so we have a Gridiron football All-American Bowl game. We're, I guess, like with LSU, being a little bit out of it, with the loss, a disappointing loss to Alabama last night. We're going to have a lot of our focus being on the Gridiron Football American Bowl game. So we're going to have a lot more commitments being announced, and there's going to be December 30th once again. Monday, December 30th is going to be played at Memorial Stadium. We're really excited about it. We're going to have 2. It's going to be a whole day of action-packed football. We have two junior high football games, so we're trying to really raise and grow the sport of football with the youth, get the 7th and 8th graders involved, and just start promoting that future of football here down in Louisiana. But we also have our Senior Bowl game. Now, a lot of the players come from Louisiana, but we have players from Texas, Alabama, Florida, you name it. We actually had a player commit last night from New Mexico. So we're going to have a lot more of these Gridiron Football Bowl game commitments on our website. So make sure to check us out, gridironfootballusa.com. We're going to have a lot more bowl game commitments announcements being posted. So make sure to keep up with that. If you are a senior and you're a high school player that is watching this stream and you want to be invited to play in the Gridiron Football American Bowl game, we'll make sure to send us a direct message at Gridiron Football or at my Twitter account, or X. I guess it's X now, but you can also send me a DM as well at Jace Lejeune. It's just, there it is. You see my name right there at Jace Lejeune. Nothing too fancy there on the X account. So you can DM me there, or you can DM me at Gridiron Football. If you're a high school player in Louisiana or outside the state as well, that's a senior that wants to play in the bowl game, make sure to send me a DM. You have to have a 2.8 GPA, and you also have to have been a productive player, whether it's been all district, all state. You have to been that type of player as well to be nominated for that. So got a lot of great stuff, got a lot of great content. We're going to be following around a lot of high school football in Louisiana. We'll also have our bracket show. It'll probably be posted around Tuesday or Wednesday. Don't know the times just yet, but it's going to be a roundtable discussion with the Gridiron football staff and perhaps Grant as well about the upcoming playoffs and what to expect. So make sure to check out our YouTube channel as well. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Please like and share the channel too. We got a lot of great content as well. I know Grant just came back, but yeah, our Gridiron Football Bowl game is on December 30th, Monday, December 30th. We got a lot of bowl game commitment announcements. Obviously, it's never great for LSU to, to lose like the fashion that they did, but there's one positive about it. We're starting to really shift our focus towards the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. So we're going to be hot and heavy with that action. So with a lot of bowl game commitment posts, and we're a little bit behind right now. Myself and Andy, we're going to do more. We'll also have more going bowling shows where myself and Andy talk about the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game as well. But just check us out. We have a lot of content each and every day at gridironfootballusa.com.
Yeah, Jace. So just to let you guys know, yes, we will. The brackets won't be coming out for a little bit, but we'll discuss, some of the top teams in each, division right now and everything. So they have the final power ratings, but that doesn't really reflect on if that's the final one. Because remember, right now the LSA just went through a dispute period. I'm not sure if that's still ongoing or not. But I think it probably is because that's going to take a little while. Usually this stuff will get handled earlier, but because DUI situation, DUIs versus LSA situation. I want to say just DUIs. There's a lot of stuff that goes into play. But just to let you guys know, I already seen some of the comments. So sorry we were kind of late. Jason was on a very important phone call, and that also gave me more time to that also gives me more time to like set up and everything. But make sure to leave comments. I already see some of them. I'm gonna start commenting them in just a second. Make sure to leave comments, and if you have any questions, please do. This is a great opportunity. It's great opportunity for some interaction. It doesn't matter how smart or how stupid the question or comment may be. Me and Jason are going to answer. Right?
We got some time right now, so I mean,
exactly.
We got
a lot of time. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Normal Guy, thank you for the subscription. Thank you so much. It means a lot. I'm trying to grow something here, and it's not really so much about the money. It's like this is like so. I obviously have my printed stuff. I write for CrestedSports.com. So that's where all my written stuff is. Mostly high school stuff. I also write a good bit about LSU. So this is kind of like what I like to do to kind of expand my boundaries. Because in this business, you want to be as multifaceted as possible. So this is a great way. And Jace knows it too. Like Jace has experience in both print and broadcast. I'm more of a print guy, but I started doing this broadcast stuff like in the last year or so. So Jace knows how, and it's very competitive too. So you want to stand out against rest, but make sure to leave comments and questions for us so we can answer it because we got a lot of time to kill. So Jace, you want to talk about that? Let's first I know since we got a little bit of time, but you want to talk about Omar Bradley, the Tiger?
I
never asked you about. You already heard my thoughts about it. I want to hear your thoughts about it.
I'm not going to go into it too much because I don't want to really talk about the political stuff behind it too. Don't want to make it a political show or anything. I'm not going into it too deep about it, but I'm going to just say this: like when we think about this LSU football game, since it's fresh on everybody's minds, right? I think people are going to be talking about this as the Omar game, right? It's the exact opposite 180 of the Rally Possum, right? That's pretty much how I see it. It's the 180 of that.
They're already calling it the Omar game. That's how bad.
They're calling it the Omar game. That's how bad this is. But I mean, you're trying. The thing is, you're trying to generate some excitement. You're trying to generate a special atmosphere.
With fake Mike the Tiger.
But that's one of those things, Grant, that you're trying too hard. When you try too hard, it comes off as fake and not authentic. And obviously, when you bring out like a fake Mike the Tiger. That's not even from
obese Mike.
right. That's not even from the state of Louisiana, by the way. I mean, you could have probably went like I know T-Bob made a comment about trying to bring
that was
to
awesome.
Monroe Zoo. Like maybe try to keep it in Louisiana, right? But yeah, you had to go to Florida to go get the tiger too. So like the whole thing was just
this whole story is
was
funny
just
as fuck.
awkward and just kind of I mean it was what it is what it was, but
I didn't mean to curse. I didn't mean to curse on that. It's just so funny because it's like that's the thing why people didn't laugh about it. It was such an obvious stunt, but it was. I'm not afraid to say it was a political stuff. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And look, if you're gonna do anything in terms of politics, like at least do something that will actually help us. Like worrying about bringing in a live tiger in the Tiger Stadium is literally at the very bottom. And not only that, you brought in a tiger from Florida, by the way, who's getting investigated by the federal government for mistreating animals. So it's like what was? I mean, it was just to me, it was just a waste of time, and it kind of perfectly encapsulated the night, and then also rained at Tiger Stadium, which is rare. I mean,
the whole thing was just off. It was a great day, college game day. I mean, the atmosphere to begin to kick off the day was awesome. I mean, pregame was awesome. I mean, being down there on the field, pregame was great. Seeing all the recruits down there was awesome too.
Yes, I got to say hi to a bunch.
Yeah, the build-up was awesome.
A lot of in-state guys.
Well, unfortunately, the ball was kicked off.
Yeah,
and that pretty much put an end to what would have been an exciting night.
Yes.
And unfortunately, just the product on the field turned out to be an absolute dud that night for LSU.
I'm really nervous waiting for who will someone play. Yeah, I mean I think that's what everyone's kind of worried about. Okay, who do we play first? Me and Jace will break that down in just a second. Obviously, the official brackets haven't been released yet. I haven't got any notifications that they have been. So, but anyway, Jace, I know somebody asked, looking for info on non-select Division III, Northeast Louisiana. We'll get to all that in a second. We're going to share some stuff real quick. I'm going to share the power raise in just a second to kind of give everybody an idea of what's going on. Give me 1 second. There you go. Let's start with the non-select divisions first. So this is select division one. So right now, the number one overall seed is Neville. They, even though they have one loss, they're above Airlines undefeated. However, Airlines' schedule wasn't as strong as Neville's, which is why Neville is number one. Again, the power ratings are based off of the strength, right? And depending on who you play, it depends on who you play, who you beat. Well, who you play, who you beat, and then also what have your opponents done, right? And then also, but if you're also, let's just say you are a 2A school and you beat a 5A school, you get like an extra point or two for that. So I mean, that's kind of the best way I can explain it. There's a lot of things that go into it, but that kind of gives you a general idea of like how the power ratings are determined. But that's why Airline, for example, is up below Neville, despite Airline being undefeated. So if anybody wants to know what's going on, something kind of similar happened to Chachere last year, where Chachere was undefeated, but Neville got the number 2 seed over Chachere because Neville played a tougher schedule than Chachere did. So I mean, that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. But right now, so the cutoff is 28. Cutoff is 28. Right now, Thibodeau barely sneaks in the 4-5 record. So Neville will get a first result. So Neville is number 1, Airline's number 2, Russ is number 3, Central's number 4. Then there's the rest of the field. Right. We'll get to a kind of a sample bracket in a second that Go Preps did to kind of break it down. But I want to say the top four seeds for the non-select Division 1. Non-select Division 2, Franklinton's number 1. Once again, they were able to get the number 1 seed over Lutcher because Franklinton played a little bit of a tougher schedule than Lutcher did, right? Yeah. Franklinton, I mean, the teams that Franklinton beat were, Franklinton beat Amite. They beat Joel Sumner, who right now Joel Sumner is actually the number 4 seed in Division 3 Select.
Yep.
Which will be a very fun bracket. Bracket when that gets released. And they beat a lot of really good teams this year. They beat Lakeshore. I mean, they beat some pretty good teams this year, and their strength of schedule was stronger than Letcher's because of their opponents' wins and loss record. So that's why Franklinton was able to get the edge over Letcher. Although Letcher, for a lot of people, I think may be the favorite, just given how well their defense has played throughout the whole season. I mean, they've been awesome so far, led by Caden Paquette and Rashawn Sterling on the defensive line. They've been awesome. And then Jennings is number 3, and Franklin Parish has been one of the better stories this year in Louisiana, is at number 4. I know somebody was asking about Division 3. Let me go back to the comment section. It was Division Northeast Louisiana, non-select Division 3. So we're
like Newman Parish, Burlington.
Yeah. So that would be So St. James is number 1. St. James, they had a really tough schedule, so that's why they're number 1. They played some really good teams, man. And beat some good teams as well. But then St. James is number 1. They were the defending state runner-ups in non-select Division 3. Then it's ERAF, who's been one of the better stories this year. They had a huge jump from this last season. Last season, I believe they finished 3-7. And that's a huge season for the Bobcats. Oak Grove is at number 3. They are actually were the state champions for non-select Division 4 last year, but they moved up and they're number 3. So there's your first Northeast Louisiana team, and the Kinder's at number 4. Kinder's at number 4, 8-2, and so they've had a really good season. And then Union Parish, is at number 5. That's we're talking about Northeast Louisiana Division 3, and then Showens is at number 6. So I know somebody asked about the Northeast Louisiana or non-select Division 3. So there's your answer. And this is a decent one too. There's some pretty good teams in this. It's not. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention Union Parish is the defending champions for non-select Division 3. So I would also want to mention that.
That was the best game of the Dome last year. Was that? I mean, that was a hell of a game. And Union Parish, Coach Badford going for 2. That was just an awesome ending to that football game to get the win, and for Union Parish, and and who knows, we may end up seeing that again.
And by the way, speaking of gutsy, I know the 2-point conversion was gutsy, but I think a lot of people don't forget that the game went the touchdown that led to the 2-point conversion.
Yep.
They called a run play with no timeout. That's how gutsy the whole sequence was.
Yeah.
For Union Parish. I mean, if they would have lost, they would have lost 4 straight. But Coach Spatford said it best after the game. When somebody asked him, what do you thought? The team did in fact lose 4 straight. It's like, well, if we made it, we're state champions. If we didn't make it, well, we've been to the state champions 4 straight times, and nobody else could really see that.
Yeah,
I mean that's a good perspective.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so yeah,
hard to do.
Yeah, but then division non-select Division 4, you have Haynesville, South Plaquemines, DeQuincy, and Jeanerette as your top 4 seeds. Haynesville is the defending division non-select Division 4 state runner-ups, where they lost against Oak Grove last year. Haynesville has returned a lot of really good players from the year before, so they should be the favorite. I mean, that's a great team. David Franklin's done a great job for that program, and I think they'll win their first state title since I believe it was 2014, if I remember correctly, Jason. So, it's great that we just get to see the Golden Tornado back to at the top of where they, really back to being one of the more elite teams for the smaller schools.
Right. I mean, you think about state championships. I mean, obviously you think about John Curtis, but I mean, the second team with the most is Haynesville. So you expect Haynesville Golden Tornado fans are always expecting to, like John Curtis, they're always expected to spend their weekend in early December in New Orleans, right? I mean, that's the expectation around there. And David's dad, Red Franklin, was a coaching legend and won a lot of those state championships. And when his son took over, it was the same thing. And David's won a couple of state championships too. So it's just the Franklin family continues on. And right now, Haynesville, you knew that they were young last year, and they went to the state championship game last year when Oak Grove decided to move up. it pretty much got the door open for Haynesville to be that leading team in Division IV non-select, and right now it sets up pretty good for them to win. I believe this would be, I think, 18 if they win another state championship. I think they have 17. Could be wrong, but off the top of my head, but could set it up for them win number 18.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so somebody normal guy. Let's see what Simon coming. They're currently right now at 26. Nothing's official yet, but on the power ratings, they're at number 26. So, like once again, nothing is official. What's up?
Yeah, that means they would sneak in because I think top 28 seeds and Sound would make the cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just want to let you guys, just let you know. So nothing's official yet, because remember I think they're still currently going through the dispute period, but sooner or later they will be releasing the brackets really soon. So that is for non-select the non-select divisions. Also, since we got a lot of time to kill, if you have any questions or comments, if you want to talk about some certain topics that involve high school football here in the state of Louisiana, please do. We've got some decent time to kill before they start releasing the brackets, but me and Jason had to hop on early just to kind of talk about what's going on, and maybe we can probably get some guests here as well. I have a couple of people, and still waiting to hear back from them. But once again, I mean, right now we're dealing with the dispute period, so I think everyone's kind of waiting on the brackets before they may make their final opinions on anything like that.
So crunch the numbers too. There were some games being played Saturday that goes into effect, so there's a lot of things that, especially when you push it back a little bit, because I know usually in most years these brackets would have been released around 11, 10:30, like right before the Saints game. Usually is when they would have been announced. So just a couple hours later than usual. I know it was delayed, but not delayed too much because a lot of people were worried it was going to be maybe a week and pushing everything back and really throwing everything off. But hey, we're glad that they are released on Sunday as it normally is, and we get a chance to talk about it on Sunday. And that was definitely a positive. That's what you want to hear, because I think we start hearing about it, Grant, like after the LSU game.
Yeah,
reports are coming up. So that was definitely some good news to talk about after that. We needed any sort of good news to talk about after that game, and we got some with the LHSAA decided to release the playoff brackets.
So they have not. So there's not a certain time right now. We know for a fact that from what I've been told is that they're going to release it in the afternoon, which will be very soon. I don't have exact time, but I'm going to assume it's going to be in the next hour. I don't, so I mean, right now it's 1:34. They had the dispute period at 12 o'clock. So I think some schools may dispute their seating. Also, you got to remember the U-High situation also made things a little bit more complicated. So everyone's trying to figure that out. So it's just, and that's the thing. That's what made the U-High thing also makes it a little bit more difficult as well. Just because, they all of a sudden got in the playoffs. So like, okay, so everyone maybe is like, okay, we were number 5. What happened? There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, because remember, UI played a lot of really good teams, and Catholic, for example, was 9-0 before the LSA ruled that UI will be temporarily be restated to the playoffs. And then obviously you have the court date on November 18th, and if the court rules that UI did in fact break the rules and siding with the LCA, then they will be eliminated from the playoffs. So they went to forfeit the second round game. Don't know who that will be against. We're gonna look at some of the sample brackets that GoPreps.com released. Kind of, it's not the official brackets, but we're going to share the guide and give you guys an idea where everyone lands. Also kind of gives us something to talk about while we're still waiting on the brackets to be released. So Jace, let's go over the select divisional rankings, and this is really where everything kind of is getting skewed. Okay, because there's a lot of teams there's a lot of teams that are in the select divisions that played U-High. But the number 1 seed for select division 1, it's an absolute shocker, Jace, and that's Endicott being number 1. What a shocker!
They don't have to crunch the numbers for that one. That makes it easy for Preps to come up with the bracket. So it makes it easy for that. I mean, Endicott has been undoubtedly the number 1 team in the state. I mean, right now you can have a case, make a case for Ash with the way they've been playing and going undefeated too. As you can tell that they're number 2. But I mean, those have been the best 2 teams all year long. But and the Car has also played a very tough schedule, the Catholic League. So I mean, to me, they definitely are deserving of that number 1 seed. And yeah, I mean, but even though they've been the best team, you say all year long, like it's not a guarantee they're going to come out of this bracket unscathed because Ash is really good. Going undefeated in that schedule is saying a lot. Acadiana, their one loss was a touchdown loss to Ruston on the road. That was a very impressive loss. I mean, Catholic, now they get that loss back, right, because of U High getting those wins back. But Catholic has been playing some of their best football as of late too, and they've been really strong all year long. So yeah, it's gonna be tough. St. Thomas More is finding their groove right now, so it's gonna be tough to come out of that bracket unscathed. But it's gonna be fun seeing how the brackets come out. But and the Car, I mean, they've been a powerhouse when they're at the 4A level. And it's kind of one of those situations when John Kurz, moved up to 5A. It was like, all right, like they've been successful. They've been winning a whole lot. It wasn't until they finally won that state championship against Catholic, right, to say, hey, we can win at the 5A, win state championship at the 5A level. And now that's what And the Car is trying to do. And the Car has accomplished everything that you can possibly accomplish since moving up from 4A to 5A. The one thing that they're trying to accomplish now is winning a state championship at 5A. And they have as good of a chance as get that done.
Yeah, I mean, Car, I mean, they've been awesome all year long. I got to see them a few times this year. I knew Car was going to do something special when I went to go see their spring game against Chachere, and they just looked like the more complete team than Chachere. I mean, they were awesome. And then as season starts, they just, they have some, a couple of sloppy games. I guess you could say sloppy in their standards, right?
Right.
I mean, you got to look at, this Car we're talking about. But Car's
twice this year, huh?
Yeah.
Holy Cross, they were down, I think, 21?
20-0, and they ended up winning 45-20.
So that was one game, and then Jesuit, right? That was
right.
Two games they struggled in this year.
Yeah, I mean, Jesuit's been playing everyone really tough too. I mean, Jesuit right now 6-4. And speaking of, we're gonna start talking about sleeper teams in a second, but Jesuit's one of those. Spoilers. Okay, but anyway, but yeah, but also last week they beat Rummel. Rummel was 8-1 going in that game, and that's a team that was affected by U High, being out or in, because right now Rummel was at number 5, but going into this week they were like 6 or 7, right? So, and that's a lot to do with U High being was originally eliminated from the playoffs because of all their vacated wins, but they got that back. So, but Car beat them 69-28. Like that was the second best team in the Catholic League by far, and they beat a lot of really good teams. And I mean, now it was a back and forth game at first, but then once the second quarter started, that's when Car just ran them out the stadium. So I mean, it was incredible performance by Car, and that's when I realized, this Car team is just incredible. But the team right below them is Alexandria. Right now, Alexandria, they just had a very impressive win over Neville. They beat Neville 40-60. That was a huge statement win, and now a lot of people are wondering if Car and Alexandria are going to be seeing each other in the dome, and that would be huge, Jace, because we got to talk about the split, right? The split between the public and private schools. I know a lot of the public schools wanted to split away from the private schools, but now there's a lot of public schools that have been put in the select divisions because they changed the the rules of who is select and non-select. And of course, if you're a magnet, open enrollment school, a charter school, or like a kind of like a lab school, like for example, U High and Southern Lab, then you'll be a select school. And they changed. And Ash is I talk about Alexandria, is a magnet school, so they're able to so they're put in with the select teams. So if you have, for example, if Car and Alexandria do in fact advance to the state championship, how big would this be in terms of the future of high school sports? Because I think if we start seeing schools like public schools win select brackets, it completely ruins the argument that public and private schools should be separated.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's kind of like what that reminds me of, Grant, is when the New York Jets, I mean, the historic perspective, the New York Jets, when they finally beat the NFL, to win the Super Bowl and Super Bowl III. That was the biggest thing, because once that happened, that's when that conference, the alignment came between the NFL and the AFL and became one league, right? In the NFL, the NFC and AFC, what we know today. So that could be a big statement if Alexandria were, let's say, it is Alexandria and it is on the car, or it's like Alexandria and Catholic High, something like that, right? And if Alexandria beats a team like that, that's a private school team, that defeats that argument, and maybe that could be a huge step forward in getting these teams back to what it once was. And that is a combined 1A through 5A, have 5 state champions, and that could be a good step forward in the right direction if they can get that done, to your point.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a huge. I mean, once again, that would be a huge statement if we have 2 public schools in select Division I, because really, to me, there's not as big of a drop off as a lot of people think. It's actually a lot closer than it actually is. Matter of fact, for a long time, like Rummel, like 2 of Rummel's state championships have come in the split era. Mm-hmm. All of Catholic's state titles have come in the split era. Carr's the only one that the Carr's really the. I mean, what's the name? Who else? Brother Martin went to their first state championship in almost 30 years, and that has a lot to do with the split era. Like, I mean, the only school that of those schools I mentioned, Carr's the only one where they won their state championships at the public school level, right? They're in select now, but for a while they were playing with the rest of the public schools and they were dominating, right? And so it's not like, so I mean, I've never understood the argument, because there's a lot of fallacies with that, because a lot of the public, like the only two private schools that dominated at the public school level were Curtis and Evangel, but those guys were playing. I mean, Evangel was throwing the ball at a time when nobody was really throwing the ball in Louisiana, and Curtis is Curtis. So. Right. I mean, I get it's because of recruiting, but so was everyone else. West Monroe was recruiting. Like, all those schools. Oh, yeah. Let's be honest. Like, all those schools were recruiting. Like, I mean, right now, you still have public schools getting busted for recruiting. So it's like, I mean, it's kind of a fallacy. I mean, at this point, I mean, I get it. Maybe it's a little easier to get those guys because they're private school, but at the same time, it's like, it's kind of a fallacy. I mean, if you have any comments about that, Ash is overrated. Ooh, I don't know, man. I don't know. They beat a lot of really good teams, man. Like, I don't know how many more I don't know how many more big time games you need Ash to win for them to be over. I mean, I get where it's coming from. It's because Ash has been a program that's been in the spotlight the last few years, right? Because of their success. I mean, in 2020, they were a 2-point conversion away from winning the state title. And so I mean, I wouldn't say they're new. But I remember Ray Butler, who runs 14-0 Productions, told me, one of the biggest issues he has with putting teams that have never won a state championship, he has a hard time putting them at number 1 because they've never done anything before. So there's that, there's a kind of understanding, there's that. I mean, I get that perspective, but like, I don't know how many more games, big time games, Ash needs to win for them to prove to you that they're not overrated.
Yeah, I mean,
because they beat Destrehan. They beat Ruston. They beat
West Monroe.
West Monroe. Well, West Monroe isn't that great this year.
They're not that great, but
they're West Monroe, right? You beat Neville 42-16. Like, I mean, I don't know how many teams that Ash needs to beat. I mean, I think they beat some others too. But I gotta look at their schedule. But like, I don't know how many more big games Ash needs to win for them to be considered overrated, right? I mean, there's other than Carr, there really hasn't been a team that has had as an impressive schedule as Alexandria. I mean, they've beaten Destrehan 45-27. They beat Opelousas. They beat West Monroe and Ruston and Neville. I mean, but 42-60. Now I do think they need to fix some of the issues they may have on defense, because they've given us up some points. Yeah. But Ash, once again, I mean,
Ash is as good as anybody in the state. Everybody talks about JT Lindsay, and they can run the football. but they can throw the football too. Like
Yes.
they're a balanced offense. So there's not a lot of offenses that can contend with Ash just from a score to score standpoint. I mean, Airline maybe that can compete with them score for score, but I mean they've proven it. Like seeing them in media day. I mean, Coach Bobman brought a couple of their guys from media day for us this year for Gridiron football, and just seeing those guys, you knew they had a special team. But the question was the schedule. Like you mentioned, Grant. Like I thought Ash was going to be that type of team this year heading to the year. Well, okay, they can be a 7-3, 8-2 team that you don't want to play, and in the Division I select playoffs. But them going undefeated with that schedule shows me that they are not overrated. I mean, every time they had a test, they had plenty of tests this year. They were able to pass them with flying colors. And they've actually been playing in playoff mode all year long because of the opponents they played in their district. I mean, along with the Catholic League, their district is the toughest district in the state. I mean, you have Ruston. I mean, we're talking about Ruston with Edna Carr as being the best team in the state of Louisiana. Ruston was dominating everybody at the beginning of the season, and including in Texas. They were going out of state and dominating teams in Texas, and this Ash team beat Ruston. So they passed every game with flying colors and passed every test, and now the final exam's coming up for Ash. So we'll see how they do and how they pass that, because the final exam's coming up.
Yeah, and once again, I'm Grant Chachere, owner of Ruger Sports Media and reporter for Crescent Sports. Jace Lejeune of Gridiron Football here with me as well. But once again, we still have a lot of time to kill. I just got word that there is, in fact, still a dispute going on. So it's going to take a little bit longer for the brackets to kind of come out a little bit. I don't know how long that's going to be. Hopefully it comes out, the next 30 minutes. I know they started disputes at 12. Usually it takes maybe a couple hours for this. A lot of times schools make this. Usually all this stuff happens in the morning, but because of the whole U High situation, it got delayed up until noon, and then those conversations still being had. Still have that was confirmed by Spencer. I don't know who that dispute may be, but once again, it could be different from the U High situation. But the U High situation has also made it a little bit more difficult for seeding, just because they got brought back in. But we're gonna get to that in a second. Let's still keep talking about a Division I select here. So Acadiana is 3, Catholic Baton Rouge is number 4. So those are your top 4 seeds. Acadiana, Catholic, and Baton Rouge were in the state championship last year.
Yep.
Catholic ended up winning that game. I believe it was like 55 to 30 something. Yeah. So Catholic is the defending state champions. Acadiana is the defending state runner-ups. As we mentioned, Archbishop Rummel is number 5. That's a team that you need to watch out for. Remember, Catholic and Rummel had a great game last year in the semifinals. If it weren't for the rain, maybe Rummel could have upset Catholic, but those two teams will get to go again. Rummel does return a lot of the players from that team from last year that made that Cinderella run, so that'll be a very interesting game to watch in the quarterfinals. Maybe Rummel can get the job done without, barring the weather, right? Because that's what kind of held them back last year.
Grant, the Division I non-select bracket has been released.
It has?
It has been released.
Where'd you get that from?
Go Preps.
Okay.
Division I non-select.
Is it official? Is it official, or is it just like the sample?
It's official. Go Preps Division I non-select bracket.
Okay. Awesome.
Just now.
Awesome. Okay. Where it is it at?
I just retweeted it for you.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, because I know you're in my notifications, so just like 100 other journalists, because I got to cover a lot of things. Let's see. Here you go. Let me share it. Is it on the website? Actually, let me see if it's on the website.
It's on their Twitter page.
Yeah, I know, but I wonder. Here you go.
It should be.
Oh, they released all the brackets. Okay, awesome. Yeah. They released all the brackets. But before we get to the brackets, let's keep going through the Power Ratings real quick. talk
Yeah,
about
they're
some
releasing them
quick,
out
very
on
quickly.
social
Awesome.
media. Yep.
Awesome. And they're also on the website. So so all that's been updated. So we had the brackets up. So we're gonna get to that shortly, but first let's finish what we're talking about. So but anyway, let's go to division number 2 because I know but because we need to explain this U High situation. So U High was originally out the playoffs. U High's not number 2, right behind Shaw. Shaw's number 1, as expected. U High's number 2, which is what they originally were before the wins got vacated, but they got brought back. Edie White's number 3, which so they jumped Haynes, which makes sense because of Haynes, which makes sense because Haynes really didn't play the strongest schedule. They've been one of the better stories this year in Louisiana high school football. And Edie White's number 3. They played a little bit of a tougher schedule. And their 2 losses were against Jesuit, who's one of the better teams in the state. Although they're 6-4, that's a team you should watch it for in the playoffs. And Haynes guys been number 4. Mazda Prep just below them and number 5. And the team that affected, the team that got screwed the most was Peabody. Peabody was at number 24. But because U High got brought back in, they missed the playoffs. That sucks. And I know you know Coach Coleman pretty well. I know he released a statement. I believe it was on Facebook. So that sucks for the War Horses. But the thing is about that, Jay. Sometimes that's why when you have the close games like that, you got to win them. And that's the thing that's the thing. Like you never want somebody else to determine where you land ever. And
you got good.
And that's that's the thing. I'm not being critical of Peabody whatsoever. I'm saying it sucks, but my point is sometimes you gotta look back at the season. You're like, damn, I should have done this differently. Dang, I should have done this and that. And that's usually how those things play out. And that happens, right? But anyway, that sucks for the War Horses. I think they will bounce back. Coach Coleman's done a great job with the program. I know they had a down year this year, but it looks like. But I think things are on the bright side of things. I think everything's going all right at Peabody. So, but once again, condolences to Coach Coleman and his team for just missing out just because of something that it really was. And this is the most unfortunate thing, really. I wanted to say this as well. This is very important. Remember, U High, all of U High's runs were ruled ineligible, were vacated because of the eligible player. U High appealed. They lost it. Now they're going to court. U High filed a court case against LHSAA, which will be determined on the 18th. And if U High loses that court case, they would have to vacate all the wins and have to forfeit the second round game in the playoffs, which once again makes I think that makes it even more tragic because that means that U High should have never been given back those wins and Peabody should be in the playoffs. But
right.
Jason, what are your thoughts about that? Because I know you're.
With U High?
It's just kind of an unfortunate situation, man. It really is.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. You brought a good point about controlling your own destiny, right? So it's just one of those situations where Peabody had opportunities to do that, and you don't want to put yourself in a position where you cannot control your destiny. And that was just a situation there. For U High, you don't want the kids to get punished. That's the thing. It's not their fault,
Yeah.
And
exactly.
One of those situations, no matter how you slice it, there's going to be an upset team. There's going to be in this situation, it was either going to be U High or it was going to be Peabody. There was going to be somebody upset about the situation. And we got to just manage the situation best as they can. And there's not a guarantee, Grant, that U High will even play a playoff game because of the suit, which could potentially go towards the LHSA's favor. Then they won't be playing in the playoffs. So. This at least puts them in a situation where they could potentially play it, but obviously this will be settled on the 18th, and once we get the decision on that, then what's going forward. You know what the situation is going forward, and right now, it's gonna be hard. I'm gonna just say it and just call it as it is. It's gonna be hard for U High to win that case.
Yes,
it really is really hard for them to win that case, and the LHSA, it's hard for the U High doesn't really have a leg to really stand on in this case, right? So it's going to be really tough for them to win that case. And if that's the case, then unfortunately 2 teams will have been affected because U High being in the first place in the bracket and Peabody not getting a chance to play either. But it sucks for Peabody, but you have to think about what's the best situation for the entire high school football scene. And that is, we got to get these playoff brackets played. Like, you're at that point. It happened so late in the season. You have to get these playoff brackets being played. And you know what the LHSAA wants to do, Grant, is all these games are played on the same weekend in the Superdome. So if everybody's saying, "Oh, that's just one bracket," well, the LHSA wants all these brackets being played at one time over a week, over a couple days period
Yep.
in the Superdome. So that's the biggest thing there, and they want everybody to play at the very same time. They're not going to say, "Hey, we'll play all the other brackets and wait till Division Two select gets settled." So that's just what they have to do. They have to get all these games being played at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jace, and we're gonna go over the Select Division 3 power ratings real quick. We have this power rating, and then the Division 4 Select Division 4 power ratings, and then we're gonna get into the brackets. But right now, the top 4 seeds in terms of power ratings are Dunham, Newman, Calvary, and Joel Sumner. Joel Sumner made a huge jump in the poll on the ratings because of a huge win over Amite, and then also, given if you look at the rest of the schedule, they also played Pine, they played Kentwood. Pine finished the season 7-3. Kentwood finished the season 7-3. Their only loss was to Franklinton. Franklinton, of course, is 9-1, and they're the number 1 team in the non-select Division 2 power rating. So that loss looks like so much better on Sumner's resume because the way they finished out.
Yeah.
So Sumner's able to jump both Bunkie and Episcopal. Episcopal's loss to Dunham also really hurt them. I know that was a game you covered, and you're also the VSN announcer for Episcopal.
Right.
So you're very familiar with that team as well. But Bunkie is just below number 5. That quarterfinal match between Sumner and Bunkie, if they do win in fact their playoff games, will be a very good one. Of course, it will be. It should be one of the better ones. But yeah, Jace, that also. Episcopal's, like I said, Episcopal's number 6. Catholic No Beers at number 7. Notre Dame at number 8. Lafayette Christian number 9. And Northwood Christian at number 10. Lafayette Christian, despite their 4-6 record, is definitely a team you need to watch out for.
Oh yeah.
And real quickly, let's go over Select Division 4. This one's very stacked. This is actually probably, in my opinion, maybe even it might be just below Select Division 1 and 2. Division not select and non-select Division 1. In terms of how stacked it is. Vermilion Catholic is at 10-0. They're number 1. It's Central Catholics at number 2. Covenant Christian is at 10-0. They've been one of the better stories in Louisiana this year. Last year, I believe they finished season 3-7 or 4-6. They upset Delhi Char in the first round, and then they played St. Mars Episcopal really tough in the second round, and they bet off of that late success last season. And that has catapulted them to 10-0 this year. So congratulations to Coach Jesse Turner and the Lions for finishing season 10-0 and as the district champions. St. Fred's is at number 4. Episcopal is at number 5. The Catholic Pointe-Coupee is at number 6. They lost for the first time on Friday night to Appaloosa Catholic, and originally they were a top 4 seed, so that definitely hurt them down the road with that loss, even though they won the district title. Riverside is at 7-2. They're the defending state runner-ups. St. Edmunds is at number 8. St. Martin's Episcopal is at number 9. Hamilton Christian is at number 10. Washington Christian is at number 11. I know I'm going down the list, but I mean it's stacked. It's extremely stacked. And Southern Lab, who's defending the Select Division 4 state champions, there at number 13. So I mean, Jace, what are your overall thoughts about these power ratings before we go over the brackets?
I might say, Grant, this potentially may be the deepest bracket of them all. Yes. I mean, I'm looking down here. I'm looking at 17 teams, the first 17.
Yeah.
And they can all make a run. I mean, it's insane. I mean, all these teams are really good. And then even like a team like St. John, for example, right? Because I follow that program pretty closely because my dad's actually helping Coach Trosclair out, and he's a good family friend of ours as well. They've played some of these really good teams close. White Castle, North Iberville, like they should be better than their 3-6 record too.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance they should have a winning record. So it's going to be tough no matter who you play in these playoffs. And Division 4 Select, I know Coach Shiver said that this potentially is the the toughest bracket, and
Mm-hmm.
he's got a good argument. I mean,
Yeah.
I see about 12, 13 teams. Look at this. The defending state champion, Southern Lab, is all the way down at 13.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that just shows you how tough this bracket is. And I know, Grant, everybody wants to talk about the playoff brackets. I know they're waiting for it, so I know we got to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, Jason. Plug out this microphone real quick because I got to charge my laptop. But yeah, Jace, just let's get started.
Yeah. It's like Christmas morning, Grant.
Yeah, no. It is. It feels like it. I mean, shit, we almost got we almost got cold because of the whole UI situation. So
yeah,
so I'm glad that we're able to get a PlayStation 5 and a giant pony.
Right, yeah, that's great.
So right now, Neville is at number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they're the number 1 seed, and that was kind of discussed with the final power ratings. So they'll get a first round bye, and they will face the winner of Covington and Bard. That should be a pretty good one right there. The one to watch out for. Terrebonne will take on Chalmette. That should be another decent one as well. Chalmette is, I believe, they're 7-3. I know they won last. I think did they win last night or it's a Friday night?
I believe they did. I know Coach Tucker actually submitted a Player of the Week nominee. I'm
assuming they did. I think they did. I'm gonna assume they did. Let me double check.
27. Yeah, they won. Let's see. I just had it. 34-28. They beat Salmon.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, yeah. So so they're 7-3. Terrebonne 7-2. They have a share of the the district title along with Chachere and Hanville. So they had a really good year. They beat Chachere, and then they lost against Hanville. So there's a 3-way tie for the district title over there. They're a very good team, a team to watch it for. They the winner of that game will play. Speaking of Hanville, the winner of Hanville and HL Bourgeois. Hanville, that's a team I can see moving on, but however, I said this, Bourgeois is kind of a sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
They got a few studs on their team, so it wouldn't shock me if there's an upset right here, to be honest with you. So and then Mandeville's number 5. They'll take on Thibodeau, who was the last team to get in. The winner of that game, which will probably be Mandeville, they will play the winner of Parkway and West Monroe. Parkway, they're 8-2. They actually lost last night in a huge upset to Evangel Christian. I mean, I guess you could say it's just upset. However, I think like the 10 of the last 12 meetings, I think Evangel's beating Parkway, or I think even Evangel has never lost to Parkway. Some crazy stat like that. So
Evangel was desperate. They needed to win that game to get in the playoffs. So they were
yes.
Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. And they won huge. They won big too. And so Parkway and West Monroe, that should be a good one right there, up there in North Louisiana. Parkway will host that game. Moving down the list, West Washita and will play Denham Springs. That should be a pretty good one. Was all being played in the Monroe area. They will play Central, who Central has a first round bye as they're the number 4. They got the top 4 seed. And non-select, if you're in the top 4, you get a first round bye. And select, if you're a top 8 seed, you get a bye. So so just because there's less teams to select.
Right.
But anyway, Ruston will also have a bye as well. They're a top 4 seed. They're the number 3 seed. They'll play the winner of Zachary and Sam Houston. That should be another good one as well. So it will also be a rematch between Ruston and Zachary. Ruston beat them early in the year, I believe by a couple of touchdowns. So the winner, I believe it will be Zachary. Sam Houston's got a good squad as well, so I wouldn't be shocked that they won this one. But I'm going to assume Zachary played Ruston in a rematch of the game they had in the regular season. Yep. Oh yeah. And also rematch of the state championship game. There, you're right.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did Ruston play Zachary though?
Oh, Acadiana beats Acadiana.
It was Acadiana. It was Acadiana. So it'll be a rematch. So it'll be a rematch of the state championship last year. That's definitely. The other one I got messed up with Acadiana. I don't know how I did that, but anyway.
I can see why. I mean, they've been really good this year.
Yeah. I mean, because there's a lot of marquee matches at the beginning of the year, so I got confused. But Dutchtown, they're the number 11 seed. They will take on Walker. So we got Yeah, and I believe Walker beat. Was that? Am I right? Did Walker
beat Dutchtown? And they were Dutchtown was undefeated at the time when Walker beat them. Yep. So a little bit of revenge potentially for Dutchtown. So
yeah, really,
familiarity in the first round. Talk about district matchup first round.
That, I mean, really, if you think about it, that kind of may have knocked them out of a potential first round bye. If you really think about it, because it's because of Dutchtown's schedule. They really didn't have a strong schedule.
They had to go undefeated or to make a case for it.
Mm-hmm. So the winner of that game will take on the winner of Southside and Live Oak. Southside's had a really good year under first-year head coach Jess Curtis. Jess Curtis, I think we all are familiar with that name. 3-time state champion Manny. He has taken over the Southside team and has really continued the success that was started with under Josh Fontenot. So Southside, I think this is a team that's really good. This is a team that could be a sleeper team, I think, in my opinion, because they're well coached. I mean, Jess Curtis is a 3-time state champion coach. They got a solid squad, but they'll be playing against a Live Oak team that's, I know they're young, and I know the record is, and like Mickey Loomis says, sometimes you have to look past the results. But this Live Oak team is actually very talented. Let me pull that. Let me pull back up.
They're a year or two away.
Yeah.
But this Live Oak team they are talented and they are really good. They're a team to watch out for in the future. And, Brett Beard has made some runs with Live Oak. Even though he's not Live Oak, they've made some runs in the past. So we'll see if they can pull up the upset. But, I mean, Live Oak's got some talent. They were actually beat a couple teams this year. And the Coach Legette's a head football coach over there. A name that everybody's starting to really talk about now is Calvin Urson over there at Live Oak. Florida State's offered him, I think, already as a ninth grader. He's only a ninth grader, and he's going to be one of the top players in the state by the time he's a senior.
Yeah, of course. And, Live Oak right now is 3-6, but sometimes, you got to look past the results. This is still a very talented team. Although it is young, it is still a very talented team, and this is a team you need to watch it for, as Jay said, in the next few years. Northwood Shreveport will play Salmon in the first round.
There's your answer.
Yep. Don't forget it. Salmon. Yep, there it is. So there's your answer. Salmon will play Northwood Shreveport. Northwood Shreveport is the number 7 seed. Salmon is the number 26 seed. They will play the winner of Chachere and Washita Parish. That should be a really good one being played in the River Parishes. Chachere is a very good team, and Washita Parish has some time as well. Dylan Berryman is one of the top defensive line prospects in the country. So they'll play. So that'll be, that should be good. Really, Destrehands can be a team that you might need to look for because right now they're starting to get healthy again. You got Jack Field back, quarterback. Yeah, he's been awesome these past few weeks. Jace Thomas will be back as well. Will be back pretty soon as well. He was at the game. LSU. He was visiting his LSU commit. Yeah. I mean, he was out there visiting the last couple of weeks. He's been in the scooter. Yesterday he was walking around, so he's starting to get healthy again. I'm not sure if he'll play this week, but he should be ready to go by the second round. So that should be a team you should watch out for. I mean, of course, they'll play Northwood Shreveport. Northwood Shreveport beat Salmon, and I think Destrehan will be probably a favorite not only to go to quarterfinals. I could see them upsetting Airline as well, because the thing about Airline, they're a Shreveport team, and a lot of times Shreveport teams really don't go far, and that's been kind of knocking Shreveport schools. And it's not. Yeah. I'm saying that they're not bad teams. It's just that compared to the rest of they play some good teams, but they also don't really play defense, and then also they may not be as strong as some of the other teams, especially in Monroe or New Orleans or Baton Rouge or Lafayette. And that's where usually by the time playoffs start, they go up against a team, for example, like Mandeville, and they struggle. So
any ball control, time consuming offense, like run the football, keep defenses off the field, that's going to be a perfect team that could dethrone Airline in this playoff run. But if you're going to try to get on the shootout with them, you ain't going to have success doing that. So you're going to have to slow the game down and put pressure on their offense, minimize their possessions, and that's going to be the formula to beat those guys.
Exactly. And another, and really, if you look at a second round match, because Airline, of course, is a bye, they're a top 4 seed. They'll have to play the winner of St. Amand and Westgate, and both those teams could beat. I could see St. Amand is a well coached team. David Oliver has always gotten the best out of his team. They've always overachieved. They have a decent squad over there at Santa Monica and Westgate. I know they've been dealing with some injuries, but once again, that is also a very talented team as well. Brian Antoine's a very good coach. He's a state championship winning coach. Yep. So I mean, I knew those teams could beat Airline. I mean, really, that's a match. He's really up to the quarterfinals. Airline is an upset alert, right? Because you're gonna have a bye week. So that, but even though you get rest, at the same time, you haven't played a game in a week, so and that while everyone else is a little bit more fresh and they're used to the playoff environment because they've already played in it a week before. So that should be a very interesting situation over there, Airline. But moving on, let's go to the next bracket. Let me pull this up. Give me 1 second. It's kind of buffering. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Oh my God. All right. Give me 1 second.
But as you're pointing that up, Grant, I'm going to say that there's a lot of teams, a lot of games that, like, usually first round, you're thinking, oh, like, there's a lot of lopsided games, and like that's the round where a lot of losses are going to happen, where it's not going to be that pretty, with games. But there's some games here in that first round. Just talking about Division I non-select, that I can see the higher seed losing. There are some upset potential type of games with some higher seeds going out. I mean, there's some district games you talked about, teams with a lot of familiarity against each other. There could be some movement in that Division I non-select bracket with some of those teams. It wouldn't shock me with some of them resulting in some upsets. And now you got the next bracket pulled up. Oh, Grant, you're on mute. Yeah, you're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to take off some of these tabs. Oh, don't sleep on Acadiana. We're top 3 for a reason. We're gonna get to Acadiana. Nobody's sleeping on Acadiana. So I just want to make that very clear. We're not sleeping on Acadiana.
Yes, you beat Carr last year in the semis.
Exactly. Like, we're gonna get to them in a second. We're gonna discuss all that in a second. We're just talking about Carr and Alexandria because of the top 2 seeds, and we're just kind of talking about. Acadiana is another perfect example, but there's Acadiana and Carr. Like, it's just public schools in general. We can see 2 public schools in the select Division I.
They can
and
go.
I think that would be great for Louisiana high school football because the split is absolutely ridiculous. Jace can attest to that. I know my boss Ken Drahan is also kind of against the split. He is heavily against the split, always been, and really a lot of people are. It's just really, I don't want to say who is for the split. I'm not going to do that on here. But I think a lot of people have a general idea who that may be. But it doesn't matter. So we know we are not sleeping at Acadiana. I know we didn't really talk about them that much, but no one is here sleeping at Acadiana. Do we just, so I mean,
once we get to that playoff bracket, we'll definitely talk about it.
Exactly. We're kind of discussing we're trying to kill time. That's what happened. But anyway, so Jace, we got the brackets up. Sorry about the little delay. For some reason, it was buffering. But as we said before, Franklinton is the number 1 seed in the Division II non-select playoffs. Awesome. Last year, it was pretty. Like Jay said, it is awesome. Last year, they're 3-7. But over the off season, their coach Nick Saltaformaggio, that Nick Saltaformaggio, Coach Salt has always done a great job at going to different programs and flipping the script. He did that at East Jeff, a place that no one ever would think that you would win a state championship.
Yeah.
He led them to the state championship. Not only did he lead them to the state championship, he beat a Carr team that was on the verge of becoming a dynasty. They were the defending state champions as well, too. So, he's great at doing this type of stuff where he goes to a certain program and he flips the script. Franklinton is the number 1 overall seed in Division II non-select. They will play the winner of Feliciana and Carroll. And the next kind of group of games, you get Iota as the number 9 seed. They will play Assumption, and they will play the winner of Lakeshore and Rain. And Lakeshore, let's say Lakeshore was able to win the first round game, second round game. it will be a rematch, and if Franklinton wins, of course, as well, it will be a rematch of their game in the regular season, their district rivals.
Yeah.
Franklinton beat Lakeshore for the first time in 8 years, and that was a huge win for the Demons and set the course for them to win their first district title, also in over 10 years as well. So it could be a great rematch and a great game that will be played at Franklinton between two district
great
rivals.
coaches, Nick Sartomaggio and Brent Endes. Those are two of the best ones out there. So that'll be a great football game.
Yes, it should be a great one. Also, Coach Endes made a statement about the whole LHSAA versus UI fiasco. If you're on Facebook, go check it out. It's a real. I mean, it can be kind of this. I don't know how else you could explain it because that was probably the best way you could explain it from a coach's perspective, especially someone of his stature. But Jace, the next group of games, you got Iowa. Iowa is the number 5 seed. They'll play LaGrange, who was the last team to get in. They'll play the winner of Minden and Wassman, and that should be and the winner of that will be a good. That should be a good one, no matter who wins this game. But Iowa, I expect Iowa to be LaGrange or LaGrange. Is it LaGrange or LaGrange?
You got it right the first time.
LaGrange. Okay, I was making sure. I know that's sometimes you think it's something else in Louisiana, especially in Louisiana, you think it's something, but it's something completely else. And the Falcons are creeping up on the Saints. So if you're here, you should probably watch the show rather than the Saints game. You won't get a heart attack, and also the results matter on here, I guess you could say. But anyway, Bruley, they're the 13th seed. They will host South Beauregard. The winner of that game will play Franklin Parish. Franklin Parish, of course, is the number 4 seed, and will get a first round bye. Franklin Parish, of course, as Mijay said earlier, they're one of the best stories to say Louisiana. Adrian Burnett has done a great job with this program, and I think Franklin Parish is a team that some people have going to the Dome and given it what they've done and what they've accomplished this year. So, Jason, if you have any thoughts about Franklin Parish before we move on.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Burnett's done an awesome job. I mean, I was shocked because Franklin Parish has had some good teams, but this was their first district championship as a program. I thought that was a very interesting tidbit there. But Coach Burnett's done a great job with this program. He's got a really good quarterback, by the way, too. I mean, he's really good, and their defense has been really solid. So he's been. I mean, I would nominate Coach Burnett as Coach of the Year. He's one of my candidates there. He's done an awesome job. They beat Calvary earlier this year. I think that was like the game where they put everybody on notice, getting a win like that. But they've been really good, man, and I'm really excited to see what they do in the playoffs. But I'm looking at that next matchup with Jennings and having to bye. But talk about that second round matchup, Opelousas and Jennings in the second round. When you look at that 14 seed Opelousas, do not look at that seed because we saw it last year. They're a double-digit seed, and they made it all the way to the Dome. So, man, keep an eye out for Opelousas because they have as good of a shot as anybody in this bracket.
Exactly, Jason. Couldn't have been better said. I mean, Opelousas, that was a team last year where we both had them go in the semifinals.
Yeah.
Just given their talent and also, like I said before, as the very famous Mickey Loomis has said, sometimes you have to look past the results, and Opelousas is a great example of that. Yeah, they're 7-3, but 3 of their losses were against teams that are some of the best in the state. But Opelousas, they've won some of those games, and they lost some of those big games. So Opelousas is definitely a team that you should not sleep on. Don't look at the record. Look at who they have and what they've accomplished in the past year or two.
Yep.
Because last year they won state, and the year before that I think they were a top 4 seed, but they got upset. I believe it was the first or second round. They got upset really early.
Yeah, it was early.
2022, yeah. So, but anyway, Jennings is the 3rd seed. They will get a first round bye. They'll play the winner, like I just said, they'll play the winner of Opelousas Basham. And that is a game where I can see an upset. Well, I guess you can say it's an upset alert because Opelousas is the lower seed, but Opelousas is the defending state champions in Division II non-select. But, that should be an interesting one. And also, by the way, before we get to anything else, I just want to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like the video and subscribe to your YouTube channel. If you're on Twitter, make sure to follow Ruger Sports Media, and then also make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. It's great. Thanks again for watching. This is the highest view count we've ever had on this show. Usually we've been in the 150s, 120s, 150s. We're close to 500. Actually, we did reach over 500. So thank you everyone who's watching right now. And let's keep this more consistent as well. I know this everyone's excited for the bracket reveal, but I think like we're gonna have we do this. So we have a live show every Friday. Sometimes we'll have a live show during the week, but a lot of times we have a live show on every Friday night after all the games are finished. So make sure to check that out as well. We go live every Friday, and then also tomorrow. I'm not sure if me and Jace confirmed the time yet, but I know me and Jace are gonna also do a full breakdown of the East bracket on Ballin' in the Boot, which is his show on Gridiron Football.
Yeah,
and we're gonna break down all the maps, just who we think is a sleeper in each bracket. This is more of a reaction show, so make sure to tune in that.
The bracket for the first time, right. That's what it is. So yeah, we're gonna have that show too. Grant will be on there. We have a couple of our staff members from Gridiron Football on there as well tomorrow. So we'll post that by at the latest probably Wednesday, but we're going to record it tomorrow, and we'll give a deeper breakdown on these brackets and what teams we have winning or coming out of it, and what teams we think can make a run. So check out that, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Gridiron Football. So appreciate that. And one more thing before you go back, there was a statement from the LHSAA just now on the U-High situation. So if you want
let's finish this bracket first, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, it's Northwest. They had an awesome Cinderella story last year. They're the 22nd seed last year, and they were able to advance all the way to the semifinals before ultimately losing to number 2 seed. Second seed is Cecilia, but they returned a lot of their players from last year, and they also got a huge boost in the running game with Kevon Johnson transferring over from St. Edmunds last year. They, Javane Reese was their bell cow. And you would think that was a huge loss for the program, but with Kevon Johnson now running the ball for the Raiders, this is a very good team, and this team they can also make a run. They'll play number 22 DeRitter. They'll host DeRitter, and they'll play the winner of Plaquemine and Grant. And I think that this will be a very interesting game. Northwest and Plaquemine both win. That'll be very interesting second round game. That should be one of the better ones in the state. North Minnesota will play Woodlawn Shreveport. They'll host them. If they win that game, which they probably should, they'll play the winner of Belle Chase and North Vermilion. Pearl River and Cecilia. That should be a good one.
Another team
on the North Shore.
Yeah.
On the North Shore.
Yeah.
There's a lot. They're both really good teams. They both have good coaches. Both have some very good players. Deshaun Badon is the leading rusher. I believe he's the leading rusher in the New Orleans area, if I'm correct. Or at least he's in the top. I know he's definitely in the top 3.
He's a stud, man. He is a stud. Nobody's talking about him, but it just shows you how good the running back class is. I got to see him against a Pistol. He is a stud. So hopefully Tayshaw gets some running here and get some looks from this playoff run. Exactly.
And Cecilia, of course, you got Frank and Frank Jr., who's one of the rising prospects in his class. I think he's a class of 2027 guy. Brett Gordon's one of the biggest sleepers in the class of 2025.
Ellis Stewart's committed to our bowl game.
Ellis Stewart's a very good player. Braylon Calais, he's one of the top DBs for the class of 2027. One of the better athletes for the class of 2027. I think he plays both sides. And then, of course, you can't forget about Diesel Solari. They do it all. I mean, I don't think he's playing much quarterback this year, isn't he?
It's been kind of a rotate. They've used Ellis a lot. They use Diesel a lot. I mean, it's been kind of one of those things, kind of like what Karen Crow's been doing. Like if Chance is not quarterback, he's at receiver. It's been that type of thing this year. But man, like how excited would this be seeing Cecilia's offense and Swester's defense potentially in the next round? I mean, so that potentially could happen. But man, like there's some. I mean, first, second round matchup, man. There's some big ones in this bracket. We'll break down more of it Ball in the Boot, but yeah, just reacting to it. There's some really good early playoff matchups here.
Yeah, Jason, give me 1 second. I'm just texting somebody right now. But we will actually be having a guest, but I think we're going to do it after we're done revealing the brackets and everything. Kind of give his perspective. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but he's a great historian of high school football here in the state of Louisiana. He does a really great job. He's got a pretty awesome website, and you can go back and look at all the historic moments, and go back, in the state's history in terms of football.
Yeah.
Look and see the state champions. I think Jason knows what kind of talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I'm not gonna spoil anything like that, but we're gonna let them on after we're done revealing the brackets. But very shortly we'll discuss the U-High situation. But Jace, kind of give a summary of what that statement was said.
Yeah, so it was. So this is the statement. Due to a recent legal development, the Division II select bracket reflects the University Lab High School's record as 8-2. A temporary restraining order (TRO) was filed on behalf of the school, which has required the LHSAA to withdraw its previously imposed penalties and reinstate the school's wins until the legal matter is resolved. So that is the statement from the LHSAA.
Let me pull that up so everyone can see it. Where was it? I think they released. Actually, I think I saw that. I think they released that earlier today, didn't they?
Yes.
Okay. It's not on Twitter. Who shared it on Twitter?
Chester Boucher.
Okay.
That's why I saw it from.
Okay. Pull that up for you guys. Here you go. So there it is. Yeah. So like as we mentioned earlier, U-High, they got all their wins back, and I think that's part of where the dispute has lied. Just because everyone's trying to figure out the power ratings, and since they got let in, it's kind of screwed up a little bit of everything. It'd also be more unfortunate too if that court case, if the court does rule against U-High, then you could have, like we said earlier, that took Peabody out of the playoffs. And that's kind of one of those frustrating things. But Jace, you have any other thoughts about that before we move on?
Yeah, it's just what we thought. I mean, it's a temporary, like a TRO. So it's just temporary, and it's going to resolve in itself. And like I said before, it's going to be hard for U-High to win this against the LHSAA, but at least puts them in a position where, okay, if they do win, they will play in the playoffs. But the good thing about this is that they set themselves up in the regular season so good that they had a first round bye. So they're not playing anybody this week. So that's not being affected. It's not like they play a game and then you tell those seniors, oh, you can't play in the playoffs anymore. They don't play a game, and then next week it'll be resolved that they have to continue the playoffs or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jace. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of unfortunate situations, and it sucks that not only did this situation really obviously we're talking about Peabody, but it really affected everybody. I mean,
it did.
We weren't really sure if there was going to be a playoffs. We're going to be any playoff games being played this week. It held everyone hostage. So I mean, it's a very unfortunate situation, really.
Another thing I just realized, Grant, is that Mass and Prep, they're number 5, right? Mm-hmm. Potentially they could have had a bye and moved up. So it's going to affect a team like that too, like Mass and Prep. So I'm sure, and that was the initial ranking.
Well, Mass and Prep does have a bye. I mean, they're a top 8 seed.
Okay.
Because remember, they're select. So the top 8 seed gets selected. They're number 5.
A double bye. They're good. A double bye is what I meant.
Oh, that's right. There is double buys.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Are they double? Not only there are double.
I'm not sure. We'll get.
No. Just no double buys. I think. Now in the original split, the BS split era, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
Double buys.
Yeah,
but we're in the much better and much more stable split era, I guess you could say, or even it even is a split because you got public schools now in the select bracket. So I mean, that reaction was simply everyone else's reaction around the state in terms of explaining what the hell is going on. But anyway, let's go over the Division III non-select brackets. St. James is currently number 1. The number 1 seed in this bracket. They'll play the winner of Baker and Donaldsonville. And the next slate of games, Pine, who's the number 9 seed, they'll play St. Helena, and they'll play the winner of Kaplan and North Webster. Pine and Kaplan, a match will be pretty interesting, Jace. I think, I mean, that'd be a pretty interesting matchup. Two teams that like to be very physical, hard nosed, be very physical. Yeah, so that should be a fun one. Union Parish, they're the number 5 seed. Once again, remember they are the defending state champions, Division 3 non-select Division 3. They'll play the winner of Red River and Winfield. Red River, they started off the season 0-4 and they won 6 straight games to win the district title. So congratulations to Red River. And so they'll play. So if Union Parish wins against Oakland, which I believe they should, they'll play the winner of Red River and Winfield. Westlake will play Crowley. Westlake is a 13 seed. Crowley is a number 20 seed. They will play Kinder, and Kinder has a first round bye as they're a top 4 seed. Oak Grove, they're the number 3 seed. They will also have a first round bye as they're a top 4 seed. They will play the winner of Mansfield and Avoyelles. Lakeside is the number 11 seed. They'll play Bogalusa. Lakeside is the number 11 seed. They'll host Bogalusa. Sterlington, they're the number 6 seed. They're playing the number 27 Patterson, and they'll play the winner of Lakeside and Bogalusa. Gina is the number 7 seed. They'll play Caldwell Parish, the number 26 seed. They will play the winner of Church Point and Port Allen. And the winner of this game, Gina should win this game. And I think they'll play the winner. Whoever wins this game, that'll be a great match for the second round, in my opinion. Yeah. And Erath, who is the number 2 seed, they will have a first round bye, of course, as their top 4 seed. They'll play the winner of Gloryville and Marksville in a 15 versus 18 seeding matchup. Moving on to give me 1 second. I need to go back to the playoff. Here we go. Let me go back. Give me 1 second. Oh my god. I need it. Let's say I don't know why I have I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, it's buffering. Oh, here we go. Bam. Shit. Instead. Moving on to Division 4 non-select. Haynesville, of course, is the number 1 seed. They will get a first round bye. They will play Montgomery and Vinton. Welsh is the number 9 seed. They'll play West St. Mary, who's the 24 seed. They'll play the winner of Faraday and Lake Arthur. And Faraday should win this one, and Welsh should win this one, and that will be an interesting 9 versus 8 matchup in the second round. North Iberville, who's been one of the better scores this year, I believe. Jace, remember, they are in the first year of varsity, correct?
Yeah, this is their first year of varsity action, so they've been another really cool story to follow this year.
Yep, they're the number 5 seed. They'll play Oberlin, and if they win that game, they'll play the winner of General Trask and Centerville. General Trask is the 12th seed. Centerville is the 21st seed. So the North Iberville will play the winner of that game. Grand Lake will play Jonesboro Hodge. Grand Lake is the number 13 seed. Jonesboro Hodge is the 20th seed. They'll play Jeanerette, who is the 4th seed, and Jeanerette will be coming off of a first round bye. DeQuincy is another team that's coming off a first round bye. They're the number 3 seed. They'll play the 14th seeded White Castle Bulldogs, and White Castle will play Franklin, who's the number 19 seed in the Division 4 non-select bracket. Elton is the 11th seed. They'll play Bazille, who's the 22nd seed. They'll play the winner of Logansport and Barnado. Logansport should win that one. So whoever's the winner of Elton and Bazille, they will play Logansport. I can't see Logansport being Varnado. I think Logansport's a really good team. They're very well coached by Coach McGee, who I believe won his 100th game a couple weeks ago. Yeah, so Logansport's a very good team. They've been to the Dome before, and so it should be Logansport versus the winner of Elton and Bazille. Mangum is the number 7 seed. They'll play East Iberville, and they'll play the winner. And the winner of that game will play the winner of West St. John, who's the number 10 seed, and Arcadia, who's the number 23 seed. That should be a very interesting match in the second round. West St. John has completely rebounded after they're kind of in the dweller for the last few years. Yeah, they've had a very impressive season, and they believe they're 7. They finished the season 7-3. They'll play Arcadia, and then the last game in this Division 4, in the non-select Division 4, you got Homer playing against East Feliciana, and they'll play South Plaquemine, who is the number 2 seed, and of course they had a first round bye.
Mhm.
That is the end of the non-select brackets. Moving forward, we'll be talking about select Division 1. And select Division 1, of course, as we already mentioned, Carr is the first seed.
Mhm.
They will have first round bye, and they'll play the winner of Hammond and Huntington.
Good luck. Your prize is playing in the car.
Yeah, exactly. That's a hell of a first round prize. Oh, you won your first round playoff game. Congratulations. Go play Carr.
Play car. Yep.
Have fun. Oh man.
Go with that.
Yeah. But anyway, St. Aug, they're the 9th seed. They will play Karen Crow, and the winner of that game will play St. Thomas More. So that's a very interesting matchup in the second round, being played there in Lafayette. Then you got Archbishop Rummel, who's by the way, St. Thomas More has about just so for any confusion, remember, like in all the select divisions, if your seeds 1 through 8 will have a first round bye. So there's a lot of buys here, but that's because there's a little bit of less teams, right?
Yep.
So
right.
It's like so. Archbishop Rummel will have a first round bye. They'll play the winner of 35, McDonald 35, and Riverdale. In the next slate of games, each chef will play Bonneville in a rematch of, in a rematch early in the year because East Chef and Bonneville are both, district opponents. So East Chef, coming off their first district title in over 10 years, if they will play Bonneville, and the winner of that game will play Catholic.
Congratulations.
So, yeah. Hey, you won your first leg. Hey, you go against a team that's won 3 out of the last 4 state championships in Division 1 select. Congratulations. Select Division 1. Congratulations. Acadiana will have a first round bye, of course, as they're the 3rd seed and they're in the top 8. They'll play the winner of Brother Martin Curtis. And that should be a very interesting. That could be a little bit interesting, although I think Acadiana should win that game and move on to the quarterfinals, whoever they may play. But Jesuit, they will play Lafayette. Jesuit's the 11th seed. Lafayette's 22nd seed. That'll be a very interesting one. Lafayette's they have some really good athletes, and Jesuit's defense is really good. They're very athletic. Although the offense may not have the athletes, they still have some decent ones. But their best athletes are actually all on the defensive side. The winner of that game will play against Turlings, and that should be a good one. That should be a decent one. Jace. St. Paul's will have a bye. They're the 7th seed. They'll play the winner of CE Bird and Woodlawn. I think CE Bird will win that game, and that will be another very interesting second round game. Yep. CE Bird, they've usually been a team. I know Shreveport teams have gotten a bad rap, but CE Bird's really been the most successful public school, as they've been to 2 state championships in the last 10 years. So they've been a really good squad. And
they're always been well coached in the playoffs. They have one more consistent performers under Coach Suggs and now Coach Ballou. Yeah, exactly. And then Captain Shreve will play Evangel Christian. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
They did this on purpose.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
That is awesome.
Are you kidding me?
Hey, give them what they want. 200 points.
That's not what the defensive coordinators wanted, Jace. That is not what they wanted.
Give the fans what they want.
Oh my God. Oh.
What's the over-under on this one, Grant?
No. One of the teams is scoring 69 points. That's all I know.
Yep. It's set at 150 or the over-under.
Hey, Vegas needs to put their bets in. They will play. So the winner of that game will play Alexandria, and that should be a high-scoring affair again. Oh boy. Oh wow.
We'll see some offense on that bomb side of the bracket.
Oh God, yeah, I know. You're gonna see some offense for sure. But moving on, let's go check out select Division 2. Share this tab instead.
Oh, and also, Indiana, because we had a comment earlier about not them being don't underestimate them. We're not. I mean, Indiana is going to be right there in the mix. I mean, they're one of those teams. I mean, I have them pretty much my top 5 all year long. They can definitely win the state championship. So, to their point, I know we want to address that too. Part of it, Indiana, they're going to be right in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, oh boy. I mean, that's gonna be a really good bracket, Jace. I'm really excited for that one.
I'm excited for the quarterfinals, semifinals between some of these teams. That's what I'm really excited for.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I know, man. It's gonna be awesome. Give me 1 second. Okay.
Here's the bracket that's been the talk of the town.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's it. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'll say this. U-High is public enemy number 1. Also, since we're on U-High, let's talk about this. So, let's get this knocked out. So, U-High is the number 2 seed right now. They are the number 2 seed. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm gonna plug this back in. Where's my? Plug it back in my microphone. Actually, let me check this real quick. All right. Sorry about that. So I just want to plug it because I had to charge my laptop a little bit. But anyway, but yeah, U-High. Sorry, I got distracted. U-High is the number 2 seed right now. So that's the thing that watch out for. So U-High, once again, kind of restate. Well, I've already stated like maybe 5 times during the whole stream. So U-High had 2 players from Liberty, and there may be even more schools, but from what I've heard, I don't know the whole details, but I know for a fact that 2 players from Liberty, there are 2 players from Liberty High School in Baton Rouge that transferred over to U-High. They're in the same district. However, I think they were still ruled ineligible, although and really there was a lot of evidence against U-High that they're recruiting them. And I'm not recruiting them, but like U-High messed up.
Like whether it's like living in different zones or stuff like that. Like there's a lot.
I don't know the whole details, but U-High definitely messed up. Right, they're in deep trouble. So so Liberty held on to the information because they're trying to get back at U-High. And really, there's other schools in the area that feel the same way by U-High. So Liberty's not the only one. So you know what they did? It's okay. For years and years, you've taken some of our players. We're going to get back at you. So they held on to that information till the last second, till that 10-day window or whatever.
Really get them that 10-day window.
And they submitted the information to the LHSAA, and the LHSAA investigated. They found out U-High did in fact do some wrongdoings. U-High appealed it. And but the LSA struck down the appeal, and they stood firm with their decision. U-High was upset. What they did was they got behind some of their money people. One of them, which was Mr. Gordon McKernan. That I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not saying that he did anything wrong. Any other school would be doing the same thing if they had someone like Gordon McKernan. I'm not saying that. It's not wrong to defend. To defend the school. I'm just saying it's like not a whole lot of schools have. It's all right. It's all right. But although not a whole lot of schools had that right because they don't have the lawyers like U-High does. JFK got busted kind of with the same thing. Although their situation was kind of messed up in terms of the fact that JFK kind of got screwed there a little bit in a sense.
But the fortunate thing that happened so early in the season, it didn't affect them as far as playoffs and their district. They even won district championship too. So like it didn't affect them from their goals.
Yes, and JFK for a while before the LSA came down on them. They were a top 3 seed, right? So this is we're gonna get to JFK in a second, but going back to U-High. So their court date is going to happen on November 18th, and if the court sides with U-High will still be in the playoffs.
Still be playing. Yep.
They'll still be playing. If the court decides to go with the LSA ruling and go against U-High will have to forfeit their second round game
to the winner of
Buckeye and Booker T. Washington in New Orleans. So I want to get that out the way first so everyone kind of knows what's going on. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so
right.
going back to the top. Shaw, as expected, is the number 1 seed in Division II Select. They'll play the winner of Loranger and Canada Discovery. Canada Discovery played Shaw early in the year, and they lost 79-0. So regardless of who wins this game,
like really, like really.
So hey, Coach Sprunk, congratulations! You won your first playoff game against Loranger. Hey, how about a rematch with the team that beat you 79-0?
Yeah,
that's yeah. I mean, that's
yeah,
I know. I feel that, Coach Sprunk. Oh man, that's tough. But also that shows you how good Shaw's been, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't think he was trying to bully Kinder Discovery. Just Shaw is just that good. They're so deep. Because even their backups are really good. Jace, I think I've told you this too. I talked to the defense coordinator at Giglo. Gig was the defense coordinator, Brother Martin, the last few years. He coached both Noah when Noah was there his senior year. He was the defense coordinator Noah's senior year, and Noah's really close with him still. He coached below Brother Jackson his freshman and sophomore year before he transferred to Warren Easton. So I know Coach Gig really well, and he said that the defense he has right now, they're all really young, but he's really excited about this defense because they're all going to come back the next year or two, and they're all like really good. One of them, Rontre Carter, got an offer from Boston College. So there's some D1 talent on this defense. And there's some guys who aren't even playing right now that will be very good. So Shaw is here to stay for a good little while. But anyway, moving on down the bracket, Lake Charles College Prep will play McKinley. They will play JFK.
Yep.
I'll say this right now. Watch out for JFK. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they're on Shaw's side of the bracket. But remember, last year, Shaw really, a lot of people said Kennedy should have won, but Shaw beat Kennedy 20-13. That's a game you should watch out for. They're both very talented. They both are well coached. Linares has done a great job with this program. I would say he built it from the ground up, but he kind of did in the sense he brought excitement back to that program. The Lions really bought in to helping get this program to where it wants to be. And so that, I expect JFK to win to maybe win the second round, although Lake Charles College Prep is a pretty good team themselves. Mm-hmm. That quarterfinal matchup between JFK and Shaw will be very interesting.
Yeah.
Especially given the fact that U-High may be out of the playoffs by then.
Yeah, like that. Just that top side of the bracket's interesting because I see Madison Prep on there too, and Madison Prep can be dangerous as well. So, like that top side of the bracket is going to be. I mean, I hate to say it, but whoever comes out on top of that top side of the bracket should be your favorite to win the state championship.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, the Saints have won.
How about that?
The Saints.
It's Rismus.
Okay, cool. We had fun this game. Win this game, and then lose the rest. Please lose. Just keep losing.
You beat the Dirty Birds.
You beat the Falcons. That's all we need. Thank you. Just don't win another game. How about that?
Yep.
That'll be awesome. And then trade away all your players, and then fire Mickey Loomis. But it seems like they're not. According to a report for Rappaport. Mm-hmm. This is not a Saints podcast. Yeah. Anyway, going back to the brackets. As Jace mentioned, Nazareth Prep is the 5th seed. They'll play the winner of St. Charles Catholic and Northside. St. Charles Catholic, expect St. Charles Catholic to win that one, and that should be a very interesting game in the second round.
Yeah, that will be a really good matchup because St. Charles Catholic, you might say, oh, they're having a down season, but still, I mean, they're playing their best football right now,
right? And
their history at this time of year, playing in the state championships, and I believe their streak's still on the line, right? Because isn't it 5 straight state championship appearances for St. Charles Catholic? So, I mean, they're trying to keep that streak alive.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are. But also, the reason why St. Charles Catholic is struggling right now is because they lost a lot of dudes from the team last year. A lot of dudes who went to 5 straight state championships from the time they're in 8th grade. Because remember, there's 8th graders to play varsity for St. Charles Catholic all the way up until the senior year. And a lot of those stars are now gone. So they're a younger team. And on top of that, you had to deal with some injuries as well. including their running back Skylar Edwards, who's back now, but he had to miss a substantial amount of time during the season because he was injured himself. So that should be a very interesting matchup in the second round. Moving on, Estruma will take on Booker T. Washington of Shreveport. They will play, the winner of that game will play Haynes Academy in the second round. Haynes Academy is also one of those great stories. They're a school that really has not been good at football. They've had some years where they've had some decent seasons and made the playoffs, but it's a school that's known more for their academics than sports, let alone football. So the winner of that game will play Haynes Academy in the second round. And really, Haynes Academy has a chance to advance to the quarterfinals. Really, if you really think about it. Congratulations to Coach Powell and the Haynes Academy Yellow Jackets. Moving on down the bracket, E.D. White will have a first round bye. They will play Frederick A. Douglass. The winner of Frederick A. Douglass and Livingston Collegiate. Frederick Douglass is the 14th seed. Livingston Collegiate is the 19th seed. Moving on down the bracket, once again, St. Michael the Archangel will play Archbishop Hannon in the first round. The winner of that game will play Vanderbilt Catholic, who had a first round bye. Leesville had a first round bye, so they're 7th seed. They will play the winner of Loyola Prep and Sophie B. Wright. Leesville is a team you need to watch out for.
Yep.
For the rest of the way, especially even if you high still in the playoffs, this is a team you definitely need to watch out for. This is a sleeper team for sure.
Yeah,
this is a team. If you look at the rest of the way, this is a team that could advance to the Chase Championship because their bracket is definitely favorable.
Yeah, especially that point being made with U High, right? If U High is not able to play in the playoffs, like it's looking really good for Leesville. They have a straight path, it seems like, to the semifinals where they can play a team like E.D. White, for example. So that'll be a great matchup if that's a semifinal matchup, knowing how good and calling a Letcher E.D. White game this year and seeing E.D. White's defense against Xavier Ford. That should be a great matchup.
Oh, look at this. Zach Arce, most Saints thing ever to go on a 4-game win streak right now.
Watch the Saints go on the run now. Yep. Watch it happen.
I don't want to get started. We're talking high school football here. But anyway, let's go on a quick break because I got to go to the bathroom, guys. So here's what I'm going to do. So Jace already promoted this stuff. I'm not going to make him do it again. And then also, I kind of already did some promotions already. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to play this wonderful video, and we will be back shortly. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. When nature calls, and this is a live show, so you can't really pause anything. So we're back. So anyway, also want to say this too. Also, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching this on Twitter or Facebook, you can make sure to do the same as well, and also make sure to follow Ruger Sports Media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So thanks everyone for watching. We have 526 views. A lot of it's on Twitter. We've got some on YouTube as well. So it's the highest viewership we've ever had. I knew that was gonna come, especially given that this is a reveal show. We just finished talking about Division 2, Select Division 2. Also, if you just tuning in, you can always go back on YouTube to watch a video. Also, leave some timestamps after the video is done to show where we talked about what. So you can go back and maybe, if you missed your team, you can go back and see what we had to say about each bracket. But anyway, Jace, let's move on to Select Division 3. Let me pull that up in just a second. And so right now, Dunham is the number 1 overall seed, as expected. They will play the winner of Parkview, a Baptist, and Lafayette Renaissance Charter. Remember, Dunham destroyed Parkview Baptist at the beginning of the year in revenge for the 2 losses that the Eagles gave the Tigers last year. So it should be well, I don't know if it should be a good one. I mean, Dunham's really good this year, man. But anyway, Lafayette. So moving on down, Lafayette Christian will play Beekman Charter. I expect LCA to win that game, and they will play Notre Dame, who got the bye. That should be an interesting one between 2 district opponents, and that should be a good second round matchup. If LCA wins against Beekman Charter, of course, anything can happen. So can't rule out anything. Bunkie, they're the 5th seed. They will get a first round bye. They will play the winner of Amite and Sarah T. Reed. I expect Amite to win that game, and that should be a very good matchup in the second round. And they will play, and really, you can see Joel Sumner. Do you remember Joel Sumner beat Amite this past week? I guess you could say this past week. It happened 2 days ago on Friday night.
3 weeks.
Yeah. So they can play each other again. Because remember, last year, Joel Sumner beat Amite in the regular season, and then they lost against them I believe it was the second round, or either the first or second round. They played each other early in the playoffs last year. And so you could see that once again. And that's going to be – and that should be another great game as well. Joel Sumner beat Amite in overtime to win their first district title in 20 years. And that's a very good team with a lot of talent at every single position, but especially in the backfield with Jamon Dyson, Kentrell Brooks, Jeremiah Brooks. They just got a lot of players all around. Jaden Parker's a great two-way player for them at receiver and safety. It's a lot of really good players on that team. Got great size and speed and athleticism on both sides of the ball. And Coach Curry's done a great job with that program. So that should be very interesting, regardless of who wins that matchup. That's quarterfinal matchup. With whoever Joel Sumner plays will be a great one. By the way, the Falcons just got the ball back.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
And
ain't over yet.
Well, so Falcons have no timeouts. Do they have a timeout?
No,
they don't have a time. They don't have a timeout.
They got a 4th down coming up.
Oh, it's a 4th and 4. Oh, they gotta get the ball off.
Yeah, they're scrambling right now. 4th and 4.
Oh, this game. That's game.
Oh yeah, he got him. Yeah, that's game.
That's game. The Saints won.
Saints won.
Merry
Christmas.
We had this guy. Like, I mean, if the Saints go on a 4-game win streak, what's going on? What's going on? Is he fighting his player? I'm so good. He's just yelling. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't matter. The Saints have won. I don't know what's going on, and quite frankly, the Saints win the next 4 games. I'm done. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Going back to high school football, where I have a whole lot of joy. Right. LSU lost yesterday, and I don't even know what the Saints are doing right now. The Calvary Baptist is the number 3 seed. Remember, they're the defending Division 3 Select State champions, where they beat St. Charles Catholic last year in a thriller. They will play the winner of De La Salle and Fisher. De La Salle is the 14th seed. Fisher's the 19th seed. De La Salle, I think De La Salle should win that game, but Fisher's been a really good team this year.
They finished the season 7-3, and they had a huge bounce back year. So I mean, it could go either way.
David
But
Lewis was our player of the week last week from Fisher High
Mhm.
School. So
Yep.
yeah, he's doing a great job over there. And yeah, I mean it's Coach Kagan's done a great job over there at Fisher
Mhm.
High School. He was a Fisher great, and this is one of the best seasons in program history. So
Yeah.
shout out to him.
Mhm. Oh yeah, definitely, Jace. And in the next game, you got Pope John Paul II. They're the 11th seed. They'll play Holy Savior Menard, and
Mm-hmm.
they're the 22nd seed. They will play Episcopal, a
I was
team
waiting to see
you
where
are
they
very that's a team that I know you are very familiar with, and also you're really close with them. I know you can't pick a winner, obviously, because you're the VSN announcer for Episcopal. But I'll say this, Chase: is there any way Episcopal could possibly advance to the semifinals? I know, they got I know we're talking about this now, but Calvary's they probably will play Calvary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know Episcopal likes to run the ball, and and really they can cook something up because obviously the best way to slow down a high-powered offense like Calvary is to run the ball.
Yeah. I mean, there's a path for that to happen. I know Episcopal has been a really consistent football team. I know Travis Bourgeois has done an awesome job with that program. It's hard to do that, Grant, at the two-way level and being that consistent. And when you lose guys year in year out, but that's what they've done. I think 7 straight quarterfinal appearances. They're just trying to get over that hump, right? So can they get to the semifinals? And here, I mean, Calvary Baptist is going to be in their way. That's always been the thing for this program is whether it's been Notre Dame, Newman, I mean teams like that, LCA, teams like in the past. Now it's Calvary Baptist. Now there is a path for them to do that. Now the good thing is, Calvary Baptist offense is really good, and they're one of the best in the entire state, and they are legit. But this is the best Episcopal defense that I've covered since calling the games. Like their defense is going to, they're going to give up points to the Calvary Baptist without going offense. But I think their defense can keep it in it. Now they can run the football, and teams going to know once you go to Calvary Baptist semifinal time, like you're going to have to make enough plays through the air. That's going to be the key thing for Episcopal. Whether it is Zach Q, whether it's Brody Bailey, also at quarterback too. I know Brody Bailey threw a 70-yard touchdown pass. So we'll see how they kind of manage that quarterback position right now. But Episcopal, they have the running game, they have the defense. If they can get just enough of the passing game, then Episcopal can be dangerous in this bracket.
Yeah, definitely, Jace. Catholic New Iberia, they get a first round bye as well. They'll play the winner of Northwick Christian and St. Louis Catholic. Northwick Christian, of course, is 10th seed. St. Louis Catholic is a 23rd seed. D'Arba Woods Charter will play Mary Park Country Day. They are the 18th Country Day. So 18th seed. D'Arba Woods is the 15th seed. They'll play Isidore Newman in the next round. Isidore Newman, or Newman, as is probably the more informal way of saying it. This is a Newman team that I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's Newman. They're not gonna they're always gonna lose the first round. They're not gonna make the state championship. Like Newman, this is a different Newman team. This is a Newman team that not only is finesse, but they're extremely physical. They got some big offensive linemen. Jacked up Castilla is 6'6", over 300 pounds. Brett Bordelon is an LSU commit.
Yeah.
And he's the son of former LSU offensive lineman, all SEC performer, and Ben Bordelon. Yeah. And then his older brother, Bo Bordelon, is also on LSU's roster currently, and he will be one of the favorites to be a starting offensive lineman for the Tigers next year. So this is it's like, I know like Newman's got some stereotypes about them because they're the preppy uptown school in New Orleans, but this is a very good football team, and I think they have the opportunity to go to the oh wow, what a dot! I'm sorry, I'm watching the Steelers and Redskins.
Oh,
Russell Wilson just threw a dot. And a dot, and then so now they're going to take the lead if they make the extra point over the Commanders.
Dang.
But yeah, anyway, going back to Newman. Newman has never been to the Dome in their program's history, despite having not only some really great teams, but really great players. Of course, it's hard not to mention the Mannings and then also Odell Beckham Jr. So Newman's just itching to get to the Dome for the first time. I know it's really bothering Coach Stewart, who's a Newman alum. He went to the school from the time he was a kid to the time he graduated high school. He's been the coach there for a very long time. He is itching to get this program over the hump and into the Dome, and that'll be a huge accomplishment if they do.
Yeah, that is. It's kind of the similar situation I talked about with Episcopal, right? They've always been overcoming that hump. They've been consistent every single year of going to the quarterfinals, semifinals. It's just trying to overcome that hump, that semifinal hump, right? Once they get there, can they get to the state championship? Grant, a couple of years ago, I actually called a semifinal Newman football game for VSN, and that was against LCA. And at that time, a little-known quarterback by the name Juwan Johnson that nobody really knew about at the time. And that was like his coming out party against Arch Manning in the semifinals. It's just trying to overcome that hump. And right now, on that side, most likely there's a good chance they could play Calvary Baptist in the semifinals, which could happen. And that is going to have they're going to have to beat that team, right, to get to the state championship. I think this year, I mean, the last 2 years, I thought that last year's team could do it too. This year's team can do it as well, overcoming that hump. This is probably even all the flash and all the great offenses and Arch Manning being quarterback. I think this is the best Newman team and the most capable team that can get to the Superdome.
Definitely, Jace. And moving on, this is the last bracket we're going to cover, and then we're going to let in our guest pretty soon once he gets the link and hops on. But Jace, Division 4 Select, this is we discussed this earlier in the stream. If anybody hasn't listened, once again, you can always go back on YouTube to rewatch the show. But anyway, this is a very, very stacked Division 4 Select bracket. This is, I mean, outside Division 2, Division 1 brackets, this is an extremely, extremely deep bracket. There's a lot of great teams. I mean, you go from seeds 1 through 16 or 17, you can all make a case that could be the state championship when it's all said and done. It's not because they're all some really great teams. They got really great coaches. They got really great players. And first, you got to start off with Vermilion Catholic, of course. Vermilion Catholic is 10-0. They're led by John D'Artez. John D'Artez has been a phenomenal player for this program the last 4 years. He's a hell of an athlete. He can do it all. He can throw it and he can run it. And he's trying to get a state championship for the first time in his career. He was close in 2022, but they lost against Washtenaw Christian. They will play the winner of Westminster Christian, who's the 16th seed, and Delta Charter, who is the 17th seed. St. Martin's Episcopal, who is the 9th seed, they will play Delhi Charter, who's the 24th seed. If St. Martin's wins the game, which they probably should, they'll play the 8th seed at St. Edmund, who will be coming off of a first-round bye. Assistant Episcopal will also be coming off a first-round bye as the 5th seed. They'll play the winner of Kentwood and St. Mary's, and that should also be a very interesting second-round matchup as well. Especially if Kentwood wins, because Kentwood, they're the Kangaroos. They're one of the state's top programs historically. They've won 8 state championships, and you're going up against a Assistant Episcopal team that has only lost 1 game so far during the season. Southern Lab is defending Division 4, Select Division 4 state champions. They will play Sacred Heart. Southern Lab is the 13th seed. Sacred Heart is the 20th seed. They will play St. Fred's, who is coming off of a first-round bye as the 4th seed. Covenant Christian is the 3rd seed. They will be coming off of a first-round bye as well. And they'll play the winner of Central Catholic and Lincoln Prep. Covenant Christian just played Central Catholic a couple of days ago for the regular season finale. And that was for the district championship, and Covenant Christian won that game. Just not only to secure a district championship, but also finish the season 10-0. Washtenaw Christian is the 11th seed. This is, once again, look past the seeding. Washtenaw Christian has only lost 1 game the whole entire season. The only reason why they're the 11th seed is because they didn't have the strongest of schedules. So this is a team that I wouldn't say you should circle in the state championship, but this is a team that will definitely go far.
Yeah.
They've all those players have played in the dome before. They've done it before. They know what to expect. Remember last year, they blew like a 2 or 3 touchdown lead to Southern Lab, and that eventually sent them out of the playoffs. I know that still lingers with that program.
Yeah.
So they're definitely on a revenge tour to get back to the dome.
Yep.
They'll play Glenbrook, and the winner of that game, which probably should be Washington Christian, they'll play Catholic Point Capee, who is the 6th seed, and they lost their first game of this season a couple of days ago on Friday night.
Mhm.
Riverside Academy is the defending Division 4 select state runner-up. They'll play Riverside Academy, who they'll play the winner of Hamilton Christian and St. John,
which they played earlier this year, so it'll be a rematch. Yep.
Yes, and Hamilton Christian is the 10th seed, and St. John is the 23rd seed. Opelousas Catholic is the 15th seed. They'll play Westminster Christian of Lafayette. That should be a very interesting first-round matchup. They'll play the winner of that game will play Ascension Catholic, and that should be a very interesting second-round matchup as well. That game. I mean, I'm not saying I think Ascension Catholic should win that game, but that is a game for whoever is the winner of this game. They both have a lot of talent, and that's a game you should circle for. If you're looking for a 15-2 upset, this is one of those games right here. So that's definitely a game you should watch it for in the second round. So, Jace, before we let on our guest, Jace, what do you have to say about just these brackets? What are your overall thoughts? Briefly before we move on.
Yeah, one note about Opelousas Catholic and Ascension Catholic, that was also the game where Chad Elsie had 9 touchdowns in the playoffs last year. So that could be a rematch of that game. But yeah, I mean, a lot of really good matchups early, and that's an encouraging thing. Usually when you look at first, second round matchups, you're like, okay, like you have to wait until the semifinals, quarterfinals, get really good playoff matchups. But we're getting some pretty good matchups early on, and especially at the non-select, the bigger schools too. There's some potential matchups I can see with the higher seed losing that I can potentially see. So we're going to chat more about the ball in the boot and break down these matchups a little bit more. But I'm excited for the playoffs to come out, and we're excited to break these down. And I'm really glad that we will have playoff football to talk about this week.
Exactly. So, thank God that all got all settled, and it's still not over yet, of course. I mean, remember, U High and LHSAA will be battling out in court November 18th. If U High wins the case, they'll be out of the playoffs, and all their wins will be forfeited. If they win, they'll still be in the playoffs, and their state championship hopes are still alive and well.
That's the only fair way to do it. That's the only fair way to do it.
Exactly. I mean, that's probably the best way to do it, and I agree with you. I mean, it's kind of a messed up situation. It held everybody hostage. But I'm glad that's been resettled. I mean, that's what they should have done. Just let you have back the wins, still keep them playoffs, and then if they're found to still do any wrongdoing in the court case, then they are out of the playoffs. Simple as that. But guys, we're gonna let on our guest. His name is Ray Butler. He's he's a former coach and administrator. He's a Oak Grove alum, and he played for some great teams at Oak Grove. But you probably better know him as 14-0 Productions. Yep. His website has a lot of great information that gives a lot of history of not only high school football in the state, but other sports as well. And it's a great resource to use if you're ever looking up any information for high school sports, and especially high school football in the state of Louisiana. Ray, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Good to be here.
Mm-hmm. So, Ray, the brackets have been released. What are your initial reactions of the bracket so far?
Oh man, just a great day to be alive, huh? I mean, this is what we all wait for this time of year. Thought it was going to be kind of a fiasco for a little while with the whole U High and the Athletic Association, but I think they made the right choice. And after a brief look at the brackets, just very excited and going to see some real good football real early this time, like it's been in the last year or so. So really excited right now.
My thing is, were you surprised? Really, that the first time I heard about the playoff brackets being released today was from you guys. So were you surprised about how, I guess, early we would get it, considering that it was going to be delayed?
Well, the whole doom and gloom scenario got painted, and you just didn't really see a quick out. I had a coach of mine, buddy of mine, that texted me and told me, this was going to be the scenario. And then I read it on another coach's site, and then just it kind of trickled down. And look, I'm not a reporter. I don't speak the terminology. Sometimes I get a little flack because I'm not media enough. I'm just a guy with a Facebook page that loves football.
There you
I
go.
played a lot. I coached a lot,
Mhm.
and I've just kind of stumbled into this role of kind of being a historian and trying to keep up with some current facts. But I think it really worked out for the best for everybody. The scenario that the athletic association laid out for us.
And Ray, I mean, what was your initial reaction to the whole fiasco between U High and LC? I know there's some strong opinions about the whole thing. You're one of the strongest. I know Coach Endest, we actually talked about that earlier. He came out on Facebook and kind of explained his thoughts as well. So what are your thoughts about this whole thing? And do you think that U High should have been led back in the playoffs?
Well, it's tough because if you're one of their people, kid, coach, administrators, I understand the fight for your people. I
Yes.
get that. But it seems like to me that, and I'm going to throw some blame here. I think the Louisiana High School Athletic Association's legal team, their lawyer and the people that works with their lawyer, I think they are to blame for a lot of this because it seems like every time somebody doesn't get their way, they have this mentality to go and throw it to the courts. And the courts may not rule in favor of them the whole time, but they rule in favor enough to where it puts an unfair or maybe a one-sided kind of version where the Louisiana High School Athletic Association comes in on the short end of the stick. You got to understand, these people go through a lot before they make this ruling. This is not just some, hey, we think they're guilty and they do it. They go through a whole process, a long process. They have legal experts that tell them that this is what should happen. And it seems like they always come up on the short end of the stick. So I think the Louisiana High School Athletic Association needs to look into a better legal counsel so they wouldn't get in this turmoil time after time with these teams that get caught cheating and just throw it to the courts. I think that's something they really need to look at.
In this situation, Ray, I mean, is there any other better way? I guess like Eddie Bonin, I guess at the top of the LHSAA could have handled the situation better in terms of the ruling, like, hey, let's just temporarily have U High in the playoffs and let it solve itself in the courts that way? Or do you think they should not even have the opportunity? Like, what was there been a better way to really handle this situation? Just got, I guess, at the top of the LHSAA.
Well, first of all, I mean, Eddie Bonin people don't understand the weight of the crown. That's a hard job. That
Yeah.
dude, you don't want that guy's life. Everybody talks about fire him, replace him, and has since day one. Well, I'm telling you, I was there the day he was introduced in Baton Rouge at the meeting, and there were 4 or 5 agendas that in the proposal of the split proposal, and that was really his first big meeting with the whole body of Louisiana High School Athletic Association back in 2012 when they couldn't even get the paperwork right. And he's sitting there thinking, I know in his mind, he's sitting there thinking, what have I stumbled into? So he is in a no-win situation. And I think he does a hell of a job to get no credit for because somebody's going to be mad every time.
Right.
I don't know that there's anybody that could do a better job. I'm not saying that you couldn't do his job, but I don't know if you could do any better because somebody's mad every time there's a ruling. And I think he does stick to his guns. I think the people that back him up, I mean, this whole appeal was voted, it was 22-0 that U-High was guilty. That's not slipping through the cracks. That's dead to the wrong. And then you get some judge that, I mean, you don't know what the scenario is. I thought it was awful weird. There's been some people make some comments on Facebook. I'm not going to call them out, but I bet I've had a message or two that talking about some connections between U-High and this person. Don't know if that's true. I just know that it seems like the Louisiana High School Athletic Association gets the short end of the stick with the court system every time. So it's just an odd thing to me.
And kind of kind of going away from the U-High stuff. I know Alexandria's had a hell of a year. I know you have a certain stance where a team that's never really won a state championship, is hard to rank them as number one. Where do you see Alexandria? And also, do you think they have a shot at winning a state championship, especially in a bracket like Select Division One? We have a lot of really good teams.
Okay, so first thing on Ash is Thomas Bachman. He is the real deal.
Yeah.
When he went down there a few years ago and he laid it on the line and told that community, that school board, that our facilities, I played at Ash as a coach, and just to get from the school to the field, you walk through a swamp. Just some of it was so outdated, and the money they were spending on athletics was ridiculous. He went down there and just made a public stance and just drew a line in the sand and said, we're not supporting our kids. And I posted the whole video several years ago. I'd love to go back and look at it and read it now, because they bought in that community, that town. So yes, Ash, I watched them play Neville Friday night. And they boat raced Neville out of the building. And I'm telling you, at every position, they were better. I think they could play them 10 times and Ash would win 9. They're that good. They're that speed. They have car-like speed at the skill positions. And so, yeah, absolutely. I think Ash can win. Will they? History says no. That's just me,
Right.
But I believe in Thomas Bachman. I sure do.
Right. And that pretty much leads to my next question, right? Because looking at it, I mean, Ash, they went to our Gridiron Football Media Day at the beginning of the year, and I talked to Coach Botman, and I just had a really good feeling about this team. I didn't think they would go undefeated with the schedule that they had.
No.
But they did, and it's been very impressive to see. And the Cars in the same bracket as well. You just mentioned it. That bracket as a whole, when you include Acadiana, they're a state championship type of team, Catholic, defending state runner-ups. That bracket, who do you think out of those 4 teams, who you're rolling with?
It gets serious week 2 in that bracket. Dead serious. There are some matchups that like I said, I just glanced at it the last few minutes, but it just, how do you count Acadiana out of anything? Them guys, they fixing to line up and they are finna hit you in the mouth for 4 quarters. And if you can't score and stop the veer, you ain't gonna get a lot of opportunities, because they fixing to go, an Army or Navy type, 8-minute, 22-play drive on you, and it'll be all night. So it's going to be tough to beat them. And Carr, look, let's be honest. Skill wise, those kids are different down there. They've been different for a long time. But what everybody, I think, has forgotten, not one kid on Carr's team has ever seen the inside of a dome unless they went to a Saints game.
That's true.
That Carr era, that ain't really right now. They're gonna have to reestablish and come back in before I'm a believer in them, because they kind of faded off a little bit. They had a great run, but some people figured them out, I think, defensively, and so they got a lot to prove. But great teams all through that bracket.
Yeah, Grant, one thing I'm going to say, the last time Car played in the state championship game, it wasn't even in the Superdome.
Yes.
It was, I believe it was in Natchitoches. So
correct. Northwestern State, But I mentioned this to Jace. We talked about earlier in the show, and we talked about the split, and how the teams are split from public and private. There's been a lot more public schools are playing with the select schools now, and we were talking about this earlier. If you see, like, for example, let's say Carr and Acadiana, or I'm not sure, I haven't checked the I forgot which side of the bracket. Let's say, we know this. Let's say Carr and Alexandria played each other in the state championships. How much would this help the LHSAA go back to what we used to see, the traditional way where public and private are all in the same bracket? How much would that help their case, everyone else's case, who are in favor of the traditional way of doing this in the playoffs?
You talk to 10 people, you get probably 8 or 9 different opinions on this. I've been around this thing to where it's, I come from I lost 2 playoff games in my career, both of them to U-High All-Star teams. Chris Banham Banta that played tight end, Chad Loop, them guys back in
Yep.
the 80s. I mean, this was all-star Baton Rouge teams that my little old town here in Oak Grove. I mean, hell, you can throw a rock and hit the zone on all four sides.
Mhm.
And, so to me, this private public thing goes way back. I don't know what the best answer is, but I'll be honest with you. What we have right now is the most competitive it's been since any of the split stuff happened. So I don't know that this is ever going to go back. I really don't. I think there's too many people has been successful on both sides of the ball. I mean, let's be honest. There's some private schools that's had great success. I mean, St. Frederick here in Monroe went to the Dome under Tannehill
Yep.
at the first year of the split. That would have never happened. I mean, let's be honest. Notre Dame has had a great amount of success after the split. So there's been a lot of people on both sides of this. And like public schools too. Oak Grove, 4 out of the last 5.
Yep.
But we had won 4 before that. So it's a lot of teams that maybe have been successful both sides of this, but there are a lot of teams that's been just successful since the split. So I don't personally think this is ever going to solve itself. I think it'll stay like it is. And right now, it's pretty competitive. When you get down there
Yeah.
to the last 3 rounds of each divisional playoff, it's pretty competitive.
And before Jason, before we go on, I just also want to mention this too. Catholic is a great example of that. Catholic of Baton Rouge is probably the best example of that.
I'm a Catholic alum. I agree.
Because Catholic, I mean, they've only went to one state title from during their most successful from under Weiner.
Right.
But they lost that to West Monroe. And then when they split up, that's where you're starting to see the rise of Catholic. I mean, obviously, it was other stuff too. Like they greatly enhanced the facilities academically and athletically at Catholic, but it also coincided with the split as well.
Yeah.
And look, it's funny. It's funny you talk about stuff. People. The reason this whole thing of mine, 14-0 production, started, it was people have this version of history that their mind tells them, and it doesn't reflect facts. So me and my buddies used to argue that. Who was this kid? What was the score of that game? So I really started writing all this stuff down. Well, one of the cool parts that I wanted to do was I wanted to get every bracket that's ever been a part of football in Louisiana. So I did it. I went back to the very first state championships, and I've got probably 99.9% of the brackets complete. I've got 1 or 2 games in the first round from like the 40s that I can't find. But other than that, it's pretty accurate. And you go back and you look at this and you hear about these people say, well, these people have been traditionally good for years. Well, that ain't so. You start putting stuff in an Excel file and breaking down numbers, of which over the next 3 or 4 days, I'm going to post some stats of teams that, traditionally are good and traditionally not, and so on. But that's a fun part because people all have this version of history that, this team's always, no, they hadn't. It's a new thing, and you just not old enough to know. So that's what I like to bring with my Facebook page and Twitter, et cetera, is just some facts that people don't really think about. So it's kind of a fun aspect of it.
Yeah, it really is. And I actually, every time I look for like, okay, how many state championships this team has won, or when's the last time they won state? I mean, I go 14-0 Productions. I really do.
We appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. To look up all the great numbers there, and we talk about parity, right? I mean, I talked about parity this year, right? I mean, we talk about the select, non-select, and all that. Well, the argument for the other side of the coin is what you just said, right? More teams having chances to win state championships and compete for state championships, and just the parity. I mean, of this year, new teams we haven't really seen before have this amount of success. How is that just on the other side of the coin, keeping the brackets the way they are?
I think kids and some of the other sports, Class B and Class C, I think some of the selects when we first did this, where you didn't have but 12 teams in a bracket, I think that was we will look back at that and I look at it right now, but I think everybody will look back at that and say that was an embarrassment. We didn't think that process out. I think that we could have done that better, but the way it's set up to where to get rules changed. It's so hard to get a new version of anything done with, within the athletic association's progress or process. So the brackets, I think, have really helped satisfy a lot of need for people not to gripe the last couple of years, and that was done by Bonine and the executive committee. Because let's be honest here, the principals dropped the ball when this started and didn't really. They wanted it split, but they didn't really have a good process to go about it, and it was so hard to get everybody on the same page. And another thing, I mean, your average high school principal didn't play high school sports. I mean, that's just a fact.
That's
We have a
true.
lot that did in a lot of places, but we have a lot of academic people. There ain't nothing wrong with that. It's education. I get it. But Miss Cindy, who never played anything and is, a great teacher and gets promoted to principal, athletics and the process of how this all works, that's not her priority. But she gets thrown in there and has to vote for this. And sometimes it doesn't come out the way maybe that the people that live this life, us, in some form or fashion, know that it should work out. So I think that's just a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
Mhm. And we have to ask about your Oak Grove Tigers. I know you're a big
Yeah.
Oak Grove guy. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't gotten this earlier, but
I know.
Oak Grove moves up to Division III non-select, and there's some really good teams in there. What do you like? What do you like about the Oak Grove chances than that one? I know that it's a little bit more difficult than Division IV non-select, but it's also still very manageable for the Tigers to repeat as state champions.
Well, this thing is kind of been a weird deal the last couple of years, changing to the divisions and going from 5 classifications and then narrowing that down to 4 divisions. Oak Grove caught a lot of flack the last couple of years because they were the biggest school in Division 4 and coming out of Class 2A. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the breakdown every year, every 2 years when this happens, there's always a team that's the biggest team in the class. There's always a team that's the smallest, in the next classification. Well, that's what Oak Grove got into. We consolidated with a little Class C school in the northern part of the parish, Kilburn High School, that had 100 and something kids, and they put us right over the number out of Division 4 into Division 3. We got one player in football out of the whole deal, and it moved us from Division 4, which Oak Grove has dominated the last couple of years, to being literally the smallest class or Division 3 school in the playoffs. Got no baseball players, got no basketball players, got one football player, and that's it. So, but that 30 kids put us over the number. So when Oak Grove, it was a kind of a doom and gloom situation when this first happened, because we were thinking, that's a big deal. Jumping up and having to play schools that are twice as big as you, which is what everybody said about Oak Grove the last few years. We're realists here. I mean, I understand it ain't going to be a cakewalk, because now we're going to play Sterlington. Now we're going to play Union. Well, these schools they have twice as many kids as we do. So we understand what people have been saying, but it's just the way it falls. Somebody's going to get the short end of the stick. And as a program, you can cowboy up, or you can get on social media and cry about it. And nobody here is really, I don't think anybody here fears anybody in Division 3. I think Oak Grove's been a program that's played up for many, many years in the regular season. And I'll be honest with you, we have one of the best squads we've ever had. So, our quarterback, Jackson Bradley, he's the winningest quarterback in Oak Grove history. He's just a phenomenal athlete. Comes from great genes. We have an O-line that's really good, led by some seniors. Running back is Jay Freeman is a pretty phenomenal running back. He's got a different level of speed, and defensively was going to be our biggest weakness. I thought we had eight new guys that had never played. We had one D lineman return, one linebacker, and one DB. So we replaced 8 bodies, and they look pretty scary. In that first game against Calvary Baptist, we couldn't get lined up good. But I'll guarantee you, we play Calvary Baptist tomorrow, they don't score 62. Those 8 guys grew up a lot, and you can just watch them on the field. So obviously, it's playoffs in November and December in Oak Grove. It's a big thing. It's just something we've enjoyed here for generations, and man, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a run. I mean, really by Coach Gregory and what he's done for this Tigers football team. I mean, have a chance to go potential with 5 and 6 years if they
Yeah,
can.
I mean, Ryan's a different kind of guy. I mean, I watched him as a kid. I watched him grow up playing baseball through high school, playing football. And you don't know this guy. This guy used to hit home runs that they ain't landed today. I mean, this guy was a player. Played for Coach Dalrymple, won state championships, and just turned this place around when he got control. He lost his first playoff game to South Plaque in 14, and then it's been semifinals every year since then or better. So, and another funny thing about this, and like I say, I'm not media, so I don't know how all this works all the time, but I do know facts and history, and I know that the only person that's ever won 4 state championships and has never won the Louisiana Sports Writers Association Coach of the Year would be Ryan Gregory.
Yeah.
Doesn't really get the credit, even here in Oak Grove. I mean, we
Yeah.
lose game here, and we have some people that,
Mhm.
that yelling from the stands. We ain't no different than nobody else here. We get a lot of flack when
Mhm.
we don't do well. Coaches, they're held to a high standard,
Yep.
but that's a good thing. You
That's
could
what
play
winning
some of these
does. Yep.
places
Yeah.
that just they're ready to go to the gym right now. So
Mhm.
it's fun. It's fun here. It's fun being back here.
Yeah, absolutely. My final question, Ray, and I appreciate your time for joining us. Is looking at the brackets. There's some really good brackets out there. I mean, I know you got a chance to maybe look at it a little bit. Obviously, you're paying a lot of attention in Division III non-select because of Oak Grove and Division I select we talked about earlier. Is there a particular bracket that you got your eyes on a whole lot?
I think what caught my eye was a matchup in the second round. Kentwood and Southern Lab. Aren't they
Mm-hmm.
playing wouldn't they play in the second round
Yeah.
of the select division 4?
Mm-hmm.
That's an old school great matchup,
Yep.
historically old school Class A game. I think Vermilion Catholic and OCS in that bracket all
Good bracket.
together.
Yeah.
Man, there's some tradition rich, and that's what I like. I like the tradition games that's been big over the years. And so small town football to me, when you drive into these places, I remember Oak Grove playing at Port Bear in 97 in the semifinals. And you drive into these small towns and you see the lights before you see the town from the football field, and you smell the grill. It's a thing, this small town 3A and down, to me, that hometown football where you're not in these metropolitan areas where people mix, and it's a community based deal. That is what's special about this to me is playing in New Orleans and all that, and Baton Rouge, that's great. Getting to play in the big stadium.
Mhm.
But when you drive out of Monroe into Sterlington, Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Yeah.
drive over to Union
Mhm.
Parish and Farmville, and you come into town on those lights, that's the only thing happening in that town. Ain't nothing
Mm-hmm.
else happening. There
Yep.
ain't no other
Yep.
options.
Friday
You
Night
either
Lights.
there
Yep.
in it or you ain't. So to me, if you're one of these, top 8 or top 4 seeds, I would suggest go watch one of those kind of games, because
Mm-hmm.
they are different. They are truly
Yep.
different.
Yes. Yes. And before I get to my last question, kind of go off your point. Yeah, that's an amazing experience. I actually I've been to Jewel Sumner twice now. And Ross Curry is the head coach. Of course, he's the son of Donald Curry, who's the head coach at Amy, and also the nephew of David Curry at
David,
Kenwood.
yeah.
So, I mean, last name is pretty famous down there. But I went to the Sumner Amy game, and that place was packed. And, that was actually a very cool experience, because that really is truly the only thing going on that night. I know it's a Thursday night, so it's a school night, but it was for the district championship, and Sumner won in overtime. So it was great to see that, especially small, because I knew that was going to be a great environment. I knew that was going to be a great game. So just, I'm glad you said that, because that was, I've gotten some of the better environments I've had is actually going to games like that.
right?
It's very special.
Special.
But my last question is, I know you've kind of taken a quick glimpse of all the brackets. What teams do you think that not a lot of people are talking about, that you can see, sleeping on a lot of people are sleeping on, and can make a huge run to the state or just at least deep in the playoffs, really?
So OCS, Washita Christian, got hammered Friday night by Oak Grove.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on them guys.
Mhm.
Them dudes is winners. They
Yep.
know how to win, and their coach Stephen Fitzhugh, he's not there by accident. I mean, they believe in him. I think they will be there at the end. And I know they're a traditional rich team, but I think everybody's they played a weak schedule, and it just worked out that way. I understand it. Sometimes Oak Grove played a real tough schedule. Couldn't get nobody to play them. You know, when you win and win and win, people don't answer the phone. That's a fact. They just don't answer the phone. Sterlington dropped Oak Grove this year. That's been a great game, and they may end up playing in the quarterfinals. You know, Sterlington and Oak Grove always plays. Well, Sterlington, they didn't want to play this year. They wanted to play some bigger people and not play Oak Grove because they just didn't feel like, that was just something they wanted to do. Well, we may get to see that game in the quarterfinals. I think, I think the Kentwood and Southern Lab, I mentioned them earlier. They're not ranked in that top 2 or 3 like they always are. Better not sleep on them guys either, because they just know about playing in November and December. That's what you look at. You look at, and no shot at the Division III number two school, ERAF. Those are the kind of things that these teams pop up. They have a good year, but you wonder about their mindset, through that Thanksgiving practice. This weather's finna turn cold. Them guys ain't never played they ain't finna be in the kind of hostile places they finna be in late in the year. So you wonder about those kind of teams, and you look to me, I always look at them teams who've been there, done that. Who's been there and done that. And those kind of teams jump out at me. Ruston, Louisiana. Don't go to sleep on them guys. They got spanked a little bit, a couple of games, and just shockers. But don't go to sleep on them, because they've been through the fire this year. They played some really good competition, and and look, let's be honest. John Curtis 4-5 this year. Just not.
That's insane.
I read. I think I looked. Kevin Fair, the radio guy. He and I've been buddies for years. He texted me after I posted that this was going to be the first losing season since '69 for them. They scored 140 points this year, but they only give up 149. So they've lost all those games by 9 points.
Yeah.
So it's been a weird year for a lot of things, but I think November weeds out, the fakes. I just think the cream rises to the top, and the people that know how to win, they're the ones going into December until I'm proven otherwise.
Right.
And also want to add on that another, there's a couple other teams. I think the one that I think a lot of people are talking about is because they had some of their wins taken away from. Actually, we did talk about that, in terms of why are all these New Orleans schools getting in trouble with the LHSAA. But JFK is another team that I think a lot of people I've kind of forgotten about because they had their wins taken away, and
they haven't missed a beat since they had to forfeit those games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, three. So in their non-district schedule, they played 5 5A teams, and they won 4 of them. The only one they lost to was against St. Paul. So really, they're 9-1 on the field, and they have a quarterfinals matchup with Shaw, which was a game that Shaw won 20-13. Really, that was a game a lot of people thought that JFK should have won last year. So that's going to be a great quarterfinal matchup as well. But Jace, is there any other teams you want to mention in terms of sleeper teams before we let Ray go?
No, I mean, everybody's kind of sitting on go here. I think somebody that I don't know that they can make the dome, but I like these guys. I've been friends with some of them for a long time. Gina Giants were 1-2 plays away from being Union last year.
They were.
And they lost a lot of people, and they've lost a game or two this year, but they are on the side where they would play ERAF in the semis, and they've got a couple warm-up games that they're going to get by, and they would play ERAF in the quarters. And so I don't know. So a lot of times you get this big build up with these 18 seniors, and this is our year. And then the next year, I think with Union and Trey Holly a few years ago, they just knew they were going to win, and then they lost. Well, then the next year they come back and they win it. So I think maybe Gina could make a little run deep up north. So that would be somebody else maybe that keep you on,
Yeah, absolutely. And to Ray's point, like it's been that type of year. I mean, you talked about ERAF, like a team that hasn't had a lot of success.
The Quincy is somebody else I've noticed that just they look a little different this year. Like I said, I hadn't seen them live, but I know some people down there, and the Quincy is just in one of the small schools. They put a good team together this year, and 30 years ago they had a good run to the Dome, so nothing could say that they couldn't make that again this year.
Right. And then a lot of teams, I'm intrigued how they're going to do it. Like Haynes Academy, you never really hear about them doing like anything in football. And now they're undefeated. How do they manage that? And then, like you mentioned, there's been teams like big time programs, like you mentioned, Sun Lab, Kentwood. I mean, early on, St. Thomas More started losing 3 games in a row. Like these teams that Destrehan had a slow start to the season. Now they've picked up St. Charles Catholic, got a slow start to the season too.
Is the St. Thomas More and Carr game a second round game? Is that?
So that's St. Aug. That's St. Aug.
Yeah.
Quarterfinal game, St. Thomas More.
Right.
Yes, they will be. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So,
and that's not saying they're guaranteed to get there. It was just something that jumped out at me on the bracket, and I'm like, these are teams. Carr ain't gonna get a cakewalk. If
no, they're not.
No, they're not.
They're gonna have to earn their way.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna have to earn it. Yep. So these teams that are powerhouse programs, they're getting hot at the right time, and that's what I'm curious. I'm intrigued how they do, and some of these new fresh blood teams that are getting success for the first time, maybe ever. How do they handle this environment? That is going to be intriguing to see.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much, Ray, for hopping on. Enjoy your rest of your weekend. We're going to have some great football being played for the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Absolutely. Enjoyed it, fellas.
All right. Thank you so much, Ray.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
All right.
So that was Ray Butler of 14-0 Productions. It's great to talk with him. He's a great historian. He's played high school football in Louisiana. He's been a high school coach for a good little while. 14-0 Productions. Actually, let me show you his website real quick just before we move on. Let me see if Spencer wants to come on.
It's a great resource, an excellent resource. You're trying to find, when was the last time this team went to the state championship? When's the last time they won district? Like, he's got a page for each team, and it tells you, breaks down how many state championships, how many playoff berths, even all state nominations. Like, it's a great resource for history. And I'm a big like sports history buff. So I really appreciate putting up and doing the research and all this, because it's not easy to do.
He's got like all state teams from like 1916. Yeah. It's a really great resource to have. He's got like who's had consecutive titles. There's a lot of really great stuff on here. Yeah. So I want to make sure to share that with you guys in case you wanted to know some history. And then really, that's how I found out. That's kind of how when I knew that Curtis lost against St. Aug last week, I was kind of like, okay, when was the last time Curtis missed the playoffs? I actually went to that site and I found out that the last time they missed the playoffs was back JT's first year, where they did not win a single game. So that's how I found out about it. And so it's a great resource to have, great resource to use for any information about high school football.
22-year-old JT Curtis.
Yes, he was that young. He's been doing this for he's been doing this since 1960. My dad's 55 years.
Yeah.
He's been doing this.
Yeah.
55 years. That's incredible.
As long as my parents really been alive, that's when he's been doing it. It's been that's unbelievable.
Right, exactly, Jason. I also want to share this one more time. Once again, this episode was brought to you by Mid-City Pizza. I shared this in kind of the very beginning of the show, but Mid-City Pizza is a neighborhood pizzeria located in New Orleans. They got 2 locations, one on 4400 Bank Street and one in the Uptown New Orleans, which is more of an express takeout place at 6307 South Mirror Street. The one on Bank Street is more of a sit-down and eat place. You can go have pizza, sandwiches. You can get drinks, alcoholic or non-alcoholic. It's a great place. It's New York style pizza, and that's actually the owner right there. But but it's great. Like, you can see how they're making it. It's a very one of the better places in New Orleans. It was voted the best pizza place. They did a fan vote, and it was Fox 8 did it, and Mid-City Pizza actually won it. So they were voted as the best pizza in New Orleans. So make sure to go check them out. If you're in New Orleans or you're visiting New Orleans, I know in 4
the
weeks.
Dome weekend, I got hit that.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
Dome
so me and
weekend.
Jace would definitely hit them up on Dome weekend. I just want to share this with you guys. It's a really great pizza place. I know the guy. Actually, I know the owner. He's a family friend of ours. His older brother actually is really close to my dad. So I know the whole family, and I went to school. I went to school with his daughter at LSU. Noah graduated in the same class. Not his daughter, but his oldest brother. I went to school with his niece at LSU, and then his nephew actually graduated from the same class as Noah did in Brother Martin, although their family's a Rummel family, and you know how that goes, especially with these Catholic League alumni. But before we go over break down the show, let me see if Spencer still wants to hop on for 15, 20 minutes. So, Jace, if you want to promote what you're doing at Gridiron Football and the bowl game real quick while I try to get in touch with Spencer. He might be pretty busy. If not, we'll just kind of give our final thoughts and
Sure.
You name it.
Yeah, absolutely. So appreciate that, Grant. The Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game are definitely getting hot and heavy with it. So we're actually getting a lot of bowl. We have a lot of bowl game commitments. Actually, we're really behind. We actually had some text from some commitments like, "Hey, when's my commitment post about to be up?" It's like, "Yeah, you're on your number 20 coming up on the list." So we got a lot that we got to catch up on, but we got a lot of content about to come to you at GridironFootballUSA.com, where we announce all of our commitments. And once again, myself and Andy Bryson, the CEO, founder of the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game, we're going to have more shows. Basically, we're going to have a lot of shows with Ball in the Boot. We're talking about Louisiana high school football, but we're also going to have a lot more shows as well going bowling, and that's when myself and Andy break down the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game and the upcoming news, or talk about some of the commitments, some of the players will be playing in the bowl game. I know Marcus Randall, former LSU quarterback, the Bluegrass Miracle. He's going to be on a couple of shows as well. We're going to be having him and Andy on the show. They're both the GMs of the teams, so they'll both draft the team. So that's going to be pretty cool as well. So we have a lot more content coming up to you, and it's crazy because right when the playoffs start, that's when I was like, oh, that's that time, that signal for me to start really get rolling with the Gridiron Bowl game, and it's going to be here before we know it. So in case you're wondering, tickets are on our website. Actually, you can go with any commitment post. You can find tickets right now. I'll definitely encourage anybody that wants to go to the game, buy your tickets now. It's $15, and that gives you 3 games that day. So it's not just a senior game. We got 2 junior high games earlier in that day. So we got 2 junior high games and the senior game. So we're going to have like a whole day of football. So $15 tickets, and then it goes to December for $20. So I know Grant is like, really, we're going to manage 2 junior high games with the senior game. But
I worked for you guys last year. I can't even handle 2.
Yeah. So we're adding another junior high game to it. So
Oh God.
it's going to be a full day of football.
How because I wasn't listening because I know, but I could hear in the headphones, but I was trying to get in contact with Spencer. I think he's gonna be busy, so I'm gonna leave him alone. But
Yeah.
But like, so how are you guys gonna do? It's like 7th grade and 8th grade. It's 6th, 7th, and then 8th grade. Okay.
So 7th and 8th grade, we just have a couple of different teams. Like a lot of people were contacting us about last year. They saw the junior high game and really loved it. So there's actually another team or 2 that wants to be involved with it. So we add another game to it. So we're going to have one game, I think, earlier in the early evening, like so around 1 o'clock. And then we'll have another one after that. And then we'll have the senior game really kicking off. So you got an appetizer, dinner. 2 appetizers. You got the main course as well. So it's a full day of football. It's $15. It gets you all 3 games, and it's going to be. It goes up to 20 once December hits. But I'll encourage you to go to our website, GridironFootballUSA.com, if you want to order tickets right now and start reserving your spot. The Gridiron Football American Bowl game. We got some really great commits coming in. We actually just got a kid from New Mexico that's going to be playing in the bowl game as well. So I'm really excited about it, and we'll have more of these commitments being announced. You'll see more and more of them in the next couple of days being announced.
Yeah. I mean, so exciting time for you guys. I know you guys are getting some really good players. I know Kyle Johnson's probably the most high profile
Yeah,
one.
he's the most high profile.
Four-star athlete guy. He's committed. I know he's committed to Houston, and
Yeah.
you know, he could go somewhere else. I mean, once again, recruiting is still wide open for a lot of recruits around the country.
Local ones in Louisiana. I mean, Chad Elzy is
Yes.
a huge name for Ascension Catholic. Jalen Nichols, the running back from Neville, is definitely another one that's committed. So we got some really good talent. It's not like we don't have like the big time 5 stars, but we got a lot of really good high school football talent playing this football game. All these guys been all state, all district type players, and will be playing college football at some level. So there is some really good talent. Grant was at the game last year. He helped us with it for Gridiron football, so he can attest of how there's some pretty good talent at the football game. So yeah, it should be another.
Yeah. I'll say last year there was a lot of talent. The issue was that the defensive line was better than the offensive line.
Yeah, the defensive line
which kind of brought down the game in some aspects because like it was a very sloppy. And then a lot of that is because the defensive line was just that much better than the offensive line. I think this year, I'm hearing a lot of good stuff. I know that this year it's a lot more even, so we might actually see like a good football game. Like last year was just like it wasn't until the second half. We're like, oh, we have to get the first half. It's like. Yeah, I was trying so hard to stay awake, bro, for that long. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, you lost your voice, you're losing your voice. I was falling asleep.
Yeah,
Andy's running around. I think everyone's trying to run around and do something. Because I mean, look, I experienced it last year as an intern. I was basically the third in charge, and I remember last year, like we had a bus situation, and like there were some kids that got, they didn't know what time they're supposed to go on the bus. So I had to like, okay, it's like, okay, here's what's gonna go on. Who here has driving? Okay.
Yeah,
you take these guys, I'll take these guys.
Yeah.
And also on top of that, I also had to help out some other interests, some other stuff to kind of help them with their articles. I'm like, oh boy,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It really is a lot. But I mean,
it's a lot out of you.
Oh yeah, it's a great. But I'll say it's still a great event. It's still, you're helping a lot of kids. Get a little extra looks. Although they may have gotten some looks before the game.
Yeah, sure.
The game is definitely extra film, and it's also even if you may not play at the extra level, it's still a fun game for it's a good fun experience for these kids. Right. And that's what's most important. It's for these kids that have fun, right? Yeah. It's for all these all-star games. So it doesn't matter if the best athletes in the country playing or it's guys who just want to play their final game. It's supposed to be fun, and that's what it's for. Andy's always done a great job giving these guys, an opportunity to play in a game like this. I know his background, why he wants to do it. It's a great story. For any guys, it's a great story if you haven't heard it. And he's told it a bunch of times. Matter of fact, I'll talk to you after the show, like what I plan to do with that. But anyway, it's a great story. But Jace, kind of final thoughts before we wrap everything up.
Yeah, sure.
But Jace, which teams do you think? I know I kind of mentioned mine. But what teams do you think? Are teams that we really aren't paying attention to that could make a deep run to the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think it's some of those teams that we talked about with Ray that they have that championship DNA, right? It's those teams that they're not having the type of regular seasons we expect them to have, but they're used to this. They're used to this environment. He talked about Washington Christian, right? Southern Lab. I mean, those teams aren't high seeds this year. A lot of it has to do with the schedule they played, and a lot of times it's been, it hasn't been that type of successful year for them to their standards. But it's a new season, and it's these teams like the Southern Labs. I mean, St. Thomas More is a team to keep an eye on because they've been playing a lot of really good football lately. They're making a pretty good run as well. There's a lot of really good football talent from these powerhouse teams. So they're going to get hot. They're used to playing in state championships and big games. Union Parish is a sleeper team as well, even though it's kind of hard to say that they're a sleeper team because they're defending champions. But
they were a sleeper team last year too.
They're not like the team that we've really talked about a lot this year, according to the last couple of years. But those teams that have made deep runs in the past, those are the teams that definitely could make a run. You talk about Deschingen, right? We see them make runs all the time. Rustin. It seems like we praised them at the beginning of the year for being for a lot of the year with Car being that number one team, and then they lose and we don't talk about them anymore. But I think Ruston still has the talent and the roster there. It kind of reminds me of a bigger version of Opelousas, right? Like
Yeah,
they
that's a great example.
there.
Great
They
example.
have the roster there to still win a state championship, no matter what seed they're in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Gesture Hands, another sleeper team as well. They got high at the right time. They're starting to get healthy once again. I mentioned Jesuit as a sleeper team earlier. They've always played their opponents really tough. The only game where they kind of, really didn't play. The only game they really had not played well all year was against Rummel, where they lost 42-7. But to me, that game's an outlier because if you look at the rest of the games, they've been in some really close games. And also a lot of, they've won some of those big time games against some good opponents, man. They played. I mean, they're the only team that that really gave Carr problems offensively throughout the whole entire game. Carr only scored 21 points in the 21-9 victory over the Blue Jays. So this is a Jesuit team that you should watch out for. There's always going to be that one Catholic League team that we know that they're decent, but they haven't had a great year. And Jesuit may be that team that slips through the cracks and they make a run in the playoffs. But Jace, that's gonna wrap up our show for the day. I know it's a long show. We're close to 3 hours now. But we knew this going in. We me and Jace talked about it. We knew it's gonna be a long show. This is a reaction show. We want to get ahead and talk about some of the teams before they start releasing the brackets because I wanted to react to the brackets as getting released in real time. So that's why I started around 1 o'clock because I knew they're going to release it around 1:30, 2 o'clock because they're going through the disputes and everything. So I had a lot of fun. We had 577 people. I think it was a little bit higher than that. I think we were close to 600. So I appreciate you guys for hopping on. Make sure to follow my personal Twitter account, but also make sure to follow Gruger Sports Media, where I'm going to be releasing all the episodes and stuff like the promotions for the episodes and stuff like that. Also, make sure to follow Jace Lejeune on Twitter as well at Jace Lejeune, as simple as that. And also Gridiron Football. Make sure to, if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're not watching this on YouTube, you're watching this on Twitter or Facebook, go over to YouTube, hit the like button to help us grow this video, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel because the more subscribers, the more it brings promotion to what me and Jace. Well, I own the company, but Jace comes on. Some Spencer Barrett of the LHSAA Network comes on. There's a lot of people that come on. So, there's always going to be great content over here, not only with high school sports, but with LSU and the Saints and other teams around the state as well. Also make sure to follow Crest City Sports, which is where I write most of my high school stuff, and also Gridiron Football, where Jace writes some great stuff on high school football and LSU. And then also their interns write some great stuff on high school football as well. And then also they're starting to add Southern and Tulane to the mix as well. And Southeastern with Logan now joining you guys now. Right. So there's a lot of great content over there at Gridiron Football. Him and Andy Bryson do a great job promoting not only the state, but also some of the diamond in the roughs around the country. So make sure to check that out. And once again, their bowl game will be played on the December 30th. So Memorial Stadium.
It's Memorial Stadium. I appreciate that mention, Grant. Yeah, Monday, December 30th at Memorial Stadium. And make sure to get your tickets. It's right smack dab between Christmas and New Year's. So before we talk about it, should be, I think, around, I'm going to look at the playoff for college football playoff schedule, but it's probably like around that semifinal, quarterfinal week around there. So before you watch those games, enjoy a bowl game, enjoy some of these great seniors that you'll be seeing playing in college level next year. Some of these even for some Division I programs. I mean, some of these players. So make sure to check that out because they deserve your support. They've worked hard all their whole high school careers, and they deserve to be celebrated a little bit. So make sure to join us on December 30th.
Yes, and also. It's also a great opportunity. Once it gets a great opportunity for these kids to not only get the spiritual last game, but maybe even get some extra looks. As well. And also, but before we get to the Gridiron Football All-American game, we also have to go through the state championships. We will be taking place in December. Actually, let me share that with you guys. I know it's Ray posted it a little earlier. Share this with you guys. Where is it at? I just saw it. I do not have to go on the LHSAA website. So let me pull this up. So share this with you guys real quick before we wrap. everything up. I also want to mention this too. So the state championship, of course, will be taken in New Orleans. So, that was that was the main concern really with this, is that it not only would it delay the playoffs, but it would rob the kids the opportunity of playing in the Dome. So from the state championship will be taking place from Thursday, December 12th through Saturday, December 14th. It's a little bit of a different schedule. Usually there's 2 games played on Thursday and then 3 games played on Friday, Saturday. This year it's 3 games played on Thursday and Friday, and then only 2 games being played on Saturday. I know some people kind of disagree with the changes. Some people agree.
I like it as a media.
I mean, as a media, yeah, you get to get the hell out of there early. For me, I don't care. Just play the games in the damn Dome, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Division 4 Select State Championship will be played at noon. The Division 4 Non-Select State Championship will be played at 3:30, and the Division 3 Non-Select State Championship will be played at 7 on Friday. It kicks off with the Division 2 Select State Championship, then the Division 3 Select State Championship at 3:30. Then at 7 o'clock, the nightcap, you get the Division 2 Non-Select State Championship. And then Saturday, of course, you got the 2 Division 1 State Championship games with the Select kicking it off the day, and the finale with the Division 1 Non-Select. So I wanted to share that with you guys real quick to kind of give it an idea of how the state championships are wrapping up, since now it's confirmed that both all the state championship games will be played at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, the largest city in the state of Louisiana. With that being said, I'm Grant Chachere, owner of Ruger Sports Media and a reporter for Crescent City Sports. Joined here most of the time, if not always. Jace's gonna be a very busy man, so anytime I can get him on, it's great because I know he's going to be very busy for the next month or two. Jace Lejeune of Gridiron Football. Thanks for hopping on again, Jace. 3-hour show.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're so up and about it. I'm actually going to start I still need to write my column article for that disaster of a game that happened yesterday for LSU, and then also I'm going to start doing my playoff coverage. Now everything's all been settled.
Yeah, I ripped that off last night like a Band-Aid. Just rip it off, get it over with, and get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, I went back. Yeah, I went straight home. I went to my car, waited for the traffic because the traffic's already been gone, but I wanted to still wait for the traffic to die down just a little bit and watch some whiskey and wine. T-Bob had the greatest rant of all time, but Omar Bradley, the Tiger, and fake Mike the Tiger is what I'm referring to. But anyway, but anyway, I'm glad that everything is back to somewhat be normal, and we'll see each other Friday. This will be live once again on Friday. Yeah, and then during the week we'll figure something out because we already had so maybe this is what might happen.
You'll be coming on balling in the boot, and I'm texting a couple people right now. Maybe get like a round table discussion. I'm not sure what time. I actually want to talk to you about that after we stop recording, about the time and everything for tomorrow. But we'll have a round table discussion and then further look at and break down these playoff games.
So what I'm gonna do is, instead of doing a preview show, because we already discussed it already, but I'll figure it. So then we'll probably do like a little bit of a preview show. We might have a guest on as well. I'll figure something out. But anyway, once again, thanks you guys for watching the show. We had nearly 600 people watch this. It'd be great to have 600 people watch our next live show. But once again, Grant Chachere, Ruger Sports Media, and Crescent City Sports, Jace Lejeune of Gridiron Football. We'll see you guys next time. Peace, y'all.